In the NFL, Jets coach Robert Saleh said Aaron Rodgers remains limited at OTAs due to a calf injury, but the team is hopeful he will be a full participant by Friday. Speaking of Rodgers, The Athletic reports that during the 2021 offseason, Rodgers' agent Dave Dunn requested Packers president Mark Murphy to either fire GM Brian Gutekunst or trade Rodgers. Of course, we now know neither of those things happened. Giants coach Brian Daboll said the team will do its due diligence in looking at free agent receiver DeAndre Hopkins. In the NBA, the New York Knicks and GM Scott Perry will reportedly part ways this summer with his contract set to expire. Today is the deadline for college basketball players to withdraw their name from the NBA draft and return to school. Among the players returning next year, UConn's Tristan Newton, UCLA's Adem Bona, and Michigan State's A.J. Hoggard and Jaden Adkins. At the French Open, top American woman Jess Pegula advanced to the third round. I'm Nick Cope.
This is The Insiders, taking you inside the lines and behind the scenes of NDSU and around the region.
I hang heavy on your thoughts because you are the Bison gods.
That should be a penalty.
The Insiders.
Do you have any other questions?
You know it.
The Insiders are presented by Proseed. Need seed? Think Proseed.
Okay, so what are you saying?
These guys do an unbelievable job, and tune into the Insiders.
I did have one. I do not apologize for taking it out of the six-pack.
First thing you should know about us is that we have people everywhere.
The Insider. The Insider. The Insider.
The prices were that shocking. I wasn't listening. I'm an old soul.
Now, here are the Insiders.
Well, we're waiting.
Back in with you, it is the Insiders. Hello, welcome on inside our Thurlton Ethanol Broadcast Center. Bill Belichick's at a podium. I'm sure that's going to be a riveting conversation. We should pull some audio from that later on, Micah. Bill Belichick, it's probably really good audio, but has a lot to say. He's wearing the same hoodie he has for the last decade.
Just ask him about punters. He'll go about
he does like the
3 minutes on punters.
Should get Bill Belichick and Phil Hansen in a room together talking about punters and kickers. That's what we should do. By the way, that hoodie, I think every hoodie Bill Belichick has ever owned, he just takes the scissors to it immediately and cuts the neck a little bit wider. That's what it looks like, at least. Did you hear the Patriots, by the way, had there was a big punishment handed down by the NFL.
I just saw that.
A big punishment. They took away 2 OTAs, 2 days of OTAs, because apparently there was a meeting that they said was optional, but it kind of seemed mandatory. So NFL was like, you know what?
Rules,
We're gonna let a hammer down here. We're not going to allow this. We're going to take away 2 OTAs from you.
If you told a coach you're getting 2 practices, that's what that is. It's 2 practices taken away. Coaches would hate that. That's 2 days. That's 2 opportunities. This is coach talk, by the way. This is Calamano doing his best coach talk. That's 2 opportunities we had to get better that we didn't have anymore. That's 2 days where our opponents got better and we didn't.
But as a player, you hear,
whatever.
We lost 2 OTAs. I got 2 off days, my man. Let's go. We're going golfing. We're doing something like that. That's what you hear. They'll probably
have a air quote captain's practice on those 2 days now.
Optional.
Coaches will be gone.
Very optional.
Hey guys, if you all want to meet up on the practice field and do some things that might look like a football practice, go ahead, but you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of those.
Yeah. Big punishment, though, handed down by the NFL a couple of weeks back. A fun show for you over the next couple of hours here with you for a 2-hour tour of some sports talk in the middle of the week. Happy Hump Day. Happy last day of May. We're going into the month of June. We were just talking about this before the show got going. June, gorgeous weather usually. Very hot today.
Too hot for me.
Yeah. See, me and Micah, we're not going to complain about the heat. That's what we've decided. People can say it's too hot. I do agree it's hot. It's a very hot day. It's a little muggy, but I remember the days in February and January where it was like negative 50, and we're getting beaten with snow every other week. So I'm not going to say too hot, because I'd rather have too hot than too cold, but it is hot outside. But June kind of feels like a lost month. We're all kind of waiting for July. The real summer seems July and August around here. June's a very nice month. There's not really anything for sports other than Major League Baseball.
NBA Finals.
They should. Years past, they would have wrapped up by now. That seems like the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals just go on for 4 months now.
It does seem like it goes against what you would believe should happen for hockey.
Right.
A sport played on ice finishes in June. It just doesn't seem right to me.
We're playing in June in Florida and Nevada.
Right. the two hottest parts of the country, which I get that they start and the majority of their season is over the winter months, but it just seems odd, doesn't it?
Yes. Very. So June's a little bit of a good month, but it just feels like it's lost between a bunch of other stuff.
But see, like June and July and May, for me, I know I'm 31 years old, but like I still hold those months dear in my heart because there was no school.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So like, obviously as an
adult, schools out yet?
Most of them, I believe.
High schools are just about to be ending here. I think this week
is.
I think this week for Fargo and West Fargo Public Schools.
There you go.
Shanley was done a week ago.
I feel like there was more summer when I was a kid, or am I just remembering wrong?
We basically
have 2.5 months.
Different. But you're Minnesota.
Yeah, we never started until after Labor Day, so we always had the whole month of August in Minnesota. But
see, we never did. I was usually in school on my birthday. My birthday's the 16th of August.
Yeah, that was definitely not the case in Minnesota. It was always after Labor Day.
But we were also done middle of May. So, got done
give
earlier.
And take, I guess, a little bit both ways. So school's almost out for everybody. That's good stuff. Fun show for you the next couple of hours, though. We do have some good guests coming up here at 11:30. This is the month, like we were just saying, of the NBA Finals. Those are still going on. The Stanley Cup Finals are going on as well. You can listen to the Stanley Cup Finals via our friends at Sports USA right here on Bison 1660 with Las Vegas and Florida. The Panthers versus the Golden Knights. We'll have every game for you. The first game is actually on Saturday for the Stanley Cup Finals. NBA Finals get going tomorrow in Denver. Nuggets hosting the Miami Heat. We'll go live down to Denver. Brandon Kristzal of KOA Denver Sports down there. He was our Super Bowl correspondent, and now he's just going to be our NBA Finals correspondent, basically, because he does work down there in Denver. He's been painting the scene a bit, and I was like, hey, man, we got to have you on and tell us what it's like down there in Denver and to give us an update on how much oxygen is in the air. And that's the real sticking point, because the Nuggets have not lost a home playoff game.
Not so much how much oxygen is in there, but how long does it really take?
Okay.
We've heard, Micah, was it 2 days? 2 days to adapt? Or was it 3?
I feel like it has to matter how much you're climbing in elevation. So
sure,
what's
but
the difference
in Denver.
between Miami to Denver?
Well, really,
Miami's got to be sea level, right?
Oh, yeah, Boston to Denver. That's the last place they were at.
Mm-hmm. I would think Boston's pretty close to sea level, too, though.
So about a mile, the mile-high city.
Yeah. He's been there for years. Maybe he hasn't even adjusted yet. I tell you, Miami's in for a world of hurt, if that were the case. We'll have him on at 11:30. At noon today, very excited to be talking with the director of NDSU track and field on both the men's and the women's side. Everyone, Stevie Keller will be joining us as these teams have obviously won the Summit League titles. That was a couple of weeks back. We got some men that are going to be participating in the national tournament as well, the national finals coming up down in Austin, Texas. So we'll have Stevie Keller on here a little bit later on in the program at noon to break down everything happening there with the track and field programs, because they are truly the last ones standing, the last sporting events for NDSU athletics for, when I talk about for the year, it's never really the calendar year. It's always like the school year. The school athletics year is kind of how I portray everything. So they were the last ones going for the year there for NDSU, and we'll catch up with Stevie Keller at noon today. Also, some changes coming to the Pac-12 potentially and the Big 12 potentially, maybe already signs of an early shift again in college athletics and college football in particular. Dennis Dodd with a really good piece on that. We'll touch on that here in just a bit as well. And a decision made by Grant Nelson. We'll give you our thoughts on that a little bit later on. You can call us up, though, 701-476-1660, the Epic Companies hotline, or you can text that number as well, 701-476-1660. You can also email the Rick Electric email inbox, open for you, studio@bison1660.com. Mike in Maine has already called us up on the Epic Companies hotline. Mike, do you just wait for the start of the show and then just call us immediately? We love these early on conversations with you.
Oh, I'm glad you like me calling as early as I do. Well, it's cool to be on the air. The Denver Nuggets are well rested going into the NBA Finals. Their last game against the Lakers was back on May the 22nd. Is that a good thing for the Nuggets going into Game 1 against the Miami Heat tomorrow night? Or could it make the Nuggets players a little bit rusty? I'll hang up a list of response.
There you go. Guys. The classic.
It's a great question, Mike.
Rust versus rest conversation from Mike in Maine.
I think it depends. I know that's not the answer Mike's probably looking for. I think it depends on the player. For me personally, I didn't like it as a football player. Now, basketball is probably different. I always felt like coming off a bye week or even going into Frisco when we had 3 weeks off, I didn't like it. Weird. I just didn't. I always say the best way to condition for any sport, most sports, maybe not any sport, but most sports, is to play the game. You play to win the game. You play to condition.
Okay, Herm Edwards.
Okay?
Get those calluses.
It's just not the same. Now, if you're beat up, sure, you need the rest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the Nuggets are. I was looking through, by the way, that last game on May the 22nd. They only played 7 guys.
Yeah.
5 starters, 2 guys off the bench. That's it.
That's what they do. They go 7,
Jokic
maybe
plays
8.
45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we talk about that enough, by the way, how well-conditioned he is for a big guy.
Especially playing in Denver.
Anyway, I guess we'll find out. I think it depends on the player, depends on the sport. Me, personally, I didn't like it. I would have rather played Frisco, give us 10 days. Maybe there were some years it was 2 weeks that was better. 3 weeks, way too long. Now, I know the Nuggets aren't coming off 3 weeks, but they are coming off a significant amount of time off, especially when they're used to playing, no more than, 2-3 days off at most. We'll see what happens. The Heat also, there's that debate, right? They just grinded through a 7-game series. They're up 3. I mean, mentally, physically taxing, I would assume. I don't know where you'd go here. I would lean towards the rest.
I think the rest at this point is good. At this point of the season, I think the rest is good.
Especially when you potentially have to play 7 more games. Potentially.
And the other thing about this, too, I think it's different in football and basketball, like you said. We talked about this with SDSU last year, right? They had 3 weeks off before their first playoff game because they had the bye at the end of the regular season.
They didn't look great that game, right? Was that
I
the
think
Holy Cross game, or was that the second round?
Might have been the Holy Cross game. I had to go back and double check.
That would be Holy Cross.
Yeah, they were not good in that game. In the first half, they were bad in the first half.
Definitely.
Blew them out in the fourth quarter, I think, but the first half, the rust was real, I would say.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's different in football compared to basketball, whereas in football, if you lose the game, you're done. In basketball, if Denver does happen to lose game 1, they have game 2 in a couple of days. They can still bounce back. I think at this point, I'd take the rest. I'd rest some people up, get them off their feet a little bit, and try to make sure you're healthy and completely ready to go for the NBA Finals. They're playing well. I get there's a certain rhythm. There's in-game rhythm a little bit to everything. You can keep some of that stuff going. They've played so many games already this year. I think they have that stuff dialed down.
It might take a quarter, maybe a half, like we talked about. But like you said, this isn't a do or die. Mm-mm. They don't need to win. They want to win game 1. They don't need to win game 1. So I will agree with you. It is a little bit different in basketball than it would be in football. Did you confirm, Micah? Was it Holy Cross?
No, because they had to play Delaware in that first playoff game, and they won by a lot.
Yeah, I thought
Holy Cross was the
Delaware.
8 seed.
Yeah, I knew Holy Cross was
second
ranked.
round.
That's why I was like, I don't think that was the one. But and they smoked Delaware pretty early on. That game wasn't particularly close. But then they did struggle later on with Holy Cross and had some other somewhat closer contests there. But good question. Rest versus rust. We'll ask Brandon Kristzal when we have him on here at 11:30. Let's take an early break, though, right now. We'll come back. Grant Nelson has made his decision on where he will be, not where he will be going, but made his decision on if he will be in the NBA or college basketball. We'll tell you what that is and react to it on the other side here on The Insiders, brought to you by Proceed.
This is The Insiders on your exclusive home for North Dakota State Athletics, Bison 1660.
I think what makes Proceed win is we're different than the other companies in many ways with our programming, our simplicity, our non-corporate attitudes, and our personal relationship building.
What Proceed is, we bring back the old-fashioned seed buying experience. We're true seedsmen. We care about everything from the sale to the planting to following up afterwards. That's what we're all about, is just trying to bring that experience back to a personal level.
Need seed? Think Proceed. Proceed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
If there's one thing I know about farmers, it's that they are resilient. This is Scott Zolandic with Cornerstone Bank. Farmers are known to rise to ever-changing challenges, whether it be higher land prices and rent costs, risk management, or diversification. Cornerstone Bank offers an experienced team that you can turn to. If you're looking to save, borrow, or spend, Cornerstone Bank will find the best financial options for business, ag operations, and your personal needs. Come see us at Cornerstone Bank.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. The kickoff to summer is coming. Happy Harry's Rib Fest.
Feels so good to be back.
Outdoors at the Fargo Dome. Delicious ribs, cold drinks, and live music. Wednesday, June 7th, it's Parmalee. Thursday, June 8th, it's Diamond Rio. Friday, June 9th, rock out with Fuel. And Saturday, June 10th, party with Lit. Concerts are for just $5. Happy Harry's Rib Fest, June 7th through the 10th at the Fargo Dome. Parmalee. Take my name. Diamond Rio. Fuel. And Lit. See you soon at Happy Harry's Rib Fest. Thanks to Busch Light, Shiner Beers, High Noon, Twisted Tea, Dakota Magic Casino, Leaf Filter, and 1-800-GOT-JUMP.
It's the Cash for Cars event at Gateway Chevrolet. All makes, all models. Sell your ride today. Whether it has 50,000 miles or 150,000 miles, Gateway Chevrolet will buy it. Cars, trucks, and SUVs, get cash today. Gateway Chevrolet needs good, clean, used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Sell your ride today, whether it has 50,000 miles or 150,000 miles. Gateway will buy it. The Cash for Cars buying event today at Gateway Chevrolet in Fargo.
Tired of striking out on the search of your dream home? Step up to the plate with Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty. Todd's expertise in the Fargo-Moorhead real estate market ensures every client has their bases covered. If you're taking a swing, why not swing for the fences? Todd Cattermas is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today at 701-371-4234 or visit him at 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty.
Moving the herd, one home at a time. Bison 1660.
Welcome back into the Insiders. Andy Rickoff, Kyle Emanuel, Micah Bindi with you. Wait,
I know
school's
this
out for summer?
Ooh, nailed it.
I wasn't even thinking about us playing.
That's right.
I really honestly wasn't even thinking about us playing.
It's
You know who
I looked up and I saw your
Alice
face
Cooper.
trying to think
Okay,
about
half point each.
I had no idea who sang it. I was no chance.
The only reason I knew that is because it was on Rock Band.
All of a
I
sudden
think,
I saw
or
you
Guitar
looking-
Hero or something.
You were like trying to think about something. I'm thinking, what are you? Oh, that's right. We're playing music.
School's out.
School's
Good-
out for summer.
Good song there, Mike.
It's a good throwback because we just talked about school being out.
Yeah.
This week, school's out for summer. That's a good Guitar Hero or Rock Band.
That's what it was.
Guitar
Yeah.
Hero
I was
song
like, why
for
do I
sure.
know this?
Definitely played that one a time or two. Back with you here on the Insiders inside of our Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Theraldson Ethanol produces 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and roughly 4,000 tons of livestock feed per year. You can fuel your own future and join their growing team online at theraldsonethanol.com. Well, we did mention Grant Nelson has made a decision, not the decision on where he will be playing coming up this next season, which still could be at this point NDSU, but he has taken his name out of the NBA draft, so he'll be coming back to play college ball. As John Rothstein reported that one, he is withdrawn from the NBA draft at the very least, coming back to play college for at least one more year, and withdraw from the 2023 NBA draft and return to school this next season per his agent. And as John Rothstein put it, a key piece to monitor. So we talked about that yesterday, that his deadline was technically today. Made the decision there yesterday, got that one decided. Probably had a lot of conversations with agents, with scouts, with members of NBA teams, and decided what's best for him is to come back, continue to develop, continue to work on his game, his body, and try and go back at it again next season. So that puts an end to that. Now everyone's going to ask, where is he going to play? What's going to happen? What can he do? Is in the transfer portal, can play kind of wherever. Doesn't mean he can't play for NDSU. Doesn't mean he can't play for anywhere. That's kind of the point that he's at right now. But now that next process will start, and this has always kind of been Plan B. Plan A was the NBA draft and exploring that to its full potential. And then Plan B was, if that doesn't work out, we'll come back to college, and that's what he's doing.
And there are reports on Twitter, take these for what you will, that he is visiting Tuscaloosa, Alabama, in the coming weeks. He will be visiting Alabama, apparently. That is an alleged report there. There's also Arkansas fans seem interested in Grant Nelson as a transfer. There's some Gonzaga people talking about him. One tweet.
I'm one fan that was talking about, can he come back to Fargo?
Same.
I love that.
I would love that as well. Someone says he's the number one transfer power forward. So
he's a great player.
He's
a phenomenal player. He's earned these opportunities. He's earned the chance to explore these possibilities and to really see if he can play at that next level. I'm sure if we were to ask Grant and he opens up a vein, a couple of years ago, he did not think this was going to be on his radar. And now I think life has changed a little bit for him, and opportunities have changed where he's probably reevaluating some things. But one of the reasons he's in the spot he's in is because of the great development and the great work that David Richmond and his staff over these last handful of years that have been here with Grant did with him and helped him develop, and the players he's played with as well. Remember when he first kind of came in for NDSU as a freshman, you could sense there was definitely some serious talent there. Had some other seniors on the team at that time that were really, really good. But Grant's obviously taken a lot of steps in his career and been able to make himself a really, really good player because of the teaching and the coaching he got here at NDSU. And he has earned all of these opportunities to come his way, wherever that is. And we'll try and monitor it and let you know what happens when it happens. For NDSU, they still got a great team. And like we've said a couple of times, that Summit League is wide open because Max Asmus is gone. He went to Texas. There's a new coach for ORU as well, with Paul Mills moving on to Wichita State. You've got a bunch of new players moving all around from USD. Tasos Kamatero's gone. They're big. The freshman of the year is gone from St. Thomas and Andrew Rohde. Connor Vanover is gone from Oral Roberts as well. There's a lot of movement, and that's kind of the age of college athletics that you're in, especially in a mid-major conference. There's usually going to be a lot of off-season movement, and that's the case it is.
Yeah, like you said, that's the world we live in now.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I'm not advocating for him to transfer. I would love to see him back here inside the Shields Arena and playing inside the Shack and playing for NDSU. But it sounds like I said, there's a lot of top schools that it sounds like they're already inquiring about him. Where he will end up, that remains to be seen. Hopefully it's at NDSU, but it sounds like he's at least going to be visiting some of these schools. And there's a lot of fans out there that are excited about one Grant Nelson potentially being a part of their team. And why wouldn't you be? 6'11" unicorn. That's what he is. He really is. I mean, some of his skills and the things he can do, you shouldn't be able to do at 6'11", yet he can.
Yeah, when you see the post there from John Rothstein, and every reply is like, oh, he's going to be whatever. He's going to be Razorback,
KU
confirmed.
Jayhawk.
Jayhawk confirmed. It's kind of crazy, and it's definitely a different realm. I'm sure even Grant Nelson himself didn't know if he would be in that realm if you'd asked him a couple of years ago. We do have, coming up here at 11:30, Brandon Kristzal, KOA Denver Sports, to give us an inside look at what's happening with the NBA Finals down there in Denver. Been a pretty good run of things for Denver Sports. They won the Stanley Cup a year ago. The Colorado Avalanche, and they had a much shorter playoff run this year out in the first round thanks to the Seattle Kraken. But now they got the Nuggets as well. And then you've got Russell Wilson. They've had that trade that was a year ago, and they can say it didn't work out well. But now you got Sean Payton.
They do have
There's
Sean
hope.
Payton.
They have hope that it's going to turn things around, and he's going to be able to, quote-unquote, fix Russell Wilson and get some things out. So there's quite a bit of stuff happening down there in Denver.
Well, yeah, it's newsworthy to say the least. Like you said, you have the success with hockey and basketball. The Russell Wilson one, I think, is always going to dominate the headlines because it was just such a disaster. It wasn't like he came in and played okay. It was like he was one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league, if not the worst.
He was outplayed by Geno Smith, his replacement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seattle was a team that everyone looked at last year, was like, oh, there's no way they're making the playoffs, and maybe they're making a run to tank, quote unquote, and go for a quarterback in the draft, and all they did was make the playoffs with Geno Smith, and now he gets a new 3-year deal, and it was just a disaster from every standpoint because it's not only that you signed Russell, like they traded for him, correct? Like they gave up a lot to get him, and it was their offense was a thing. Like defensively they were fine, but offensively they couldn't do anything, and that was the guy you brought in, and now they have. Once again, we're talking about Denver. Like, could they be the team that makes the biggest jump? Are they going to be a team that
they were losing games like 9-3 last
year? Yeah, multiple times, and they were on Thursday Night Football every single week. It was horrible. We all had to watch it. We had to do it. Denver had like 6 primetime games in the first 8 weeks. It felt like, and we all had to sit there and watch it, and it was kind of entertaining for me. Not a huge Russell Wilson fan. Obviously, played the Broncos a ton with my time in the Chargers. They're a rival, but that wouldn't put them on the same level as the Chiefs or the Raiders.
Same conference or division.
But it was somewhat fun to watch, but also not fun to watch, depending how you like football. If you like the Broncos, obviously not fun to watch. If you like offense, not fun to watch.
No.
If you like a little bit of a disaster, it was interesting.
Even if you like defense, it wasn't fun to watch because it wasn't like it was a great defense.
No,
it was just
really bad
offense, actually, on that side of things. Who's that team this year that we're making too much hype about? But the Jets are going to have a ton because they just traded for a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers.
The Jets come to mind. Oh, let me think about this.
I got one.
Who is it?
Detroit.
Well, I'm trying to think of someone who made like a big offseason move. I don't think people are putting the Saints up there like what they did with the Broncos. They did go out and get Derek Carr. I'll have to think about that one. I mean,
Miami.
It's got to be the Jets, right?
Miami goes out and gets Jalen Ramsey. People talk about the defense. Vic Fangio is over there.
Could see Miami. I think the Jets have.
I think the Jets will be legitimately good, though.
But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to have as bad of a year as Russell Wilson.
I would agree with you.
I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Though he didn't have a great year a year ago. We'll see.
He is Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back MVPs until last year when they then missed the playoffs, and now everything's going different in Green Bay, and he's a New York Jet. So Bill's still pretty good. Patriots, interesting as well. Lost a couple of OTAs. That's really going to hurt the Patriots down the road.
Yeah, it is.
No doubt about that one. This show every single day, though, is brought to you by Proceed, home of the Right Choice and Right Stuff programs, online at proceed.net. We'll take a break. We'll come back and get the view inside of Denver. Brandon Kristzal, KOA, Denver Radio down there, covering the Denver Nuggets. He'll give us an insight into that when we come back next here on The Insiders.
Hear the herd here. Bison's 1660.
The kickoff to summer is coming. Happy Harry's Rib Fest.
Feels so good to be back.
Outdoors at the Fargo Dome. Delicious ribs, cold drinks, and live music. Wednesday, June 7th, it's Parmalee. Thursday, June 8th, it's Diamond Rio. Friday, June 9th, rock out with Fuel. And Saturday, June 10th, party with Lit. Concerts are just $5. Happy Harry's Rib Fest, June 7th through the 10th at the Fargo Dome. Parmalee, Take my name. Diamond Rio, Fuel, and Lit. See you soon at Happy Harry's Rib Fest. Thanks to Jiffy Lube of Fargo, Cass County Electric, Preference Employment Solutions, Hot Spring Spas, Horwin Auto Group, GoGoRental.com, and Horn Plastics.
Hey, Bison Nation, Andy Reckoff here, and I just wanted to take a moment to say we absolutely love our Thoroldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Love being there every day to bring you the very latest with NDSU athletics, but we're not the only ones that like to be in the studio. Michael Tutsi with us here live in studio.
Scott Anderson joining us, Director of Multimedia, NDSU.
The athletic director's inside the studio. Matt Larson's joining us. I told you we weren't the only ones. Fuel your future and join the growing team at Thoroldson Ethanol today by going online to ThoroldSonEthanol.com.
At Batteries Plus, we power family road trips. We power bedtime stories. We power our local hospitals. We power connections with friends. We do more than replace batteries and fix phones and tablets. We help our neighbors power their lives. How powerful is that? Visit Batteries Plus in-store, curbside, and online for fast and reliable phone and tablet repair. Learn more at batteriesplus.com.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Wednesday in the Fargo-Moorhead area looking mostly sunny, a high near 89 degrees. Slight chance of showers between 1 and 4 p.m. and a chance of thunderstorms after 4 p.m. Heading into Wednesday night, 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy, a low around 64 degrees.
This weather update brought to you by Heartland Trust Company, an independent and local trust company where their priority is your financial future. Visit them online at heartlandtrust.com. Are you a business owner with remodel plans in the near future? When it comes to your electrical needs, you only need one call, and that's to JDP Electric. JDP's team of professionals will work with you closely and are able to follow a strict timeline to get your project done when it's needed. That way, you don't have to worry about closing your doors and missing any customers or sales. Put your company in the best hands by calling JDP right away. Call 701-232-1991 today to experience the JDP difference or online at jdpelectric.net.
Bison 1660.
Any way you want it. Thought you were going to take the layup point.
Well, I was just going to give you that one.
Thank you. It's nice of you.
Journey?
Half point each.
Okay. Nice job. That was more difficult.
I wasn't 100% on that one.
It's good teamwork today. I get song titles, you get the
I
artist.
wasn't going to guess that. I mean, you said it first second.
Yeah, they do right away. 11:29 on the program. Get Brandon Kristzal here in just a little bit. Talk some NBA Finals. You're going to watch more of the NBA Finals or the Stanley Cup Finals? Or just whatever tournament's happening this weekend on the PGA Tour?
I actually don't know what it is. Is it the Memorial?
Don't ask me. This
Arnold
is
Palmer?
This is your
or Jack Nicklaus?
Your je ne sais quoi, whatever they call it. Your area of expertise right here.
I'll probably watch more golf, if I'm being honest. But between the two, I'll watch more NBA Finals.
It is the Memorial.
There you go. I didn't know.
At Muirfield Village.
Yeah. Jack's place, right? Jack Nicklaus' place. I will watch more NBA finals.
I don't know if this is one of the elevated events.
I think it is. I'll watch more NBA finals because I understand basketball better than I understand hockey.
Victor Hovland, Scotty Scheffler, Colin Morikawa, John Rahm, Jason Day. There you go.
Yeah, it's got to be an elevated event.
Some pretty good names at the very least. Cameron Young, Adam Scott. Maybe we should do a draft for this one.
I'm in.
There we go. I'm always in.
I'll take.
I just need
I'll just
need
20.
guys to make the cut. I need a rebound after the first couple of majors of the year.
You have picked you had the winner, or you had tied for second place.
Yep. Brooks Koepka
in the Masters, and you had the winner.
Yep.
For the PGA
both times.
Which
means Brooks Koepka is going to go very early in our next draft.
Well, I would assume, unless for some reason on Live I heard on Live he had this was reported, he had his party, he had a good time for the PGA Championship, and then he showed up to Live, slightly hungover or whatever, and still shot
he
4
finished
under and finished 10th, something he still played well.
I think it was in the bottom half of the competitors at that event for Live.
Oh, it was.
But he still made $300,000.
Yeah.
And he was
still had a nice day.
Still had a good time out there, after celebrating a PGA championship. And, we'll see if he can do it. I mean, he's right there with the Masters. He won the PGA. Can he win? Next one's the Open?
The Open.
The Open Championship? I don't even know what
No. U.S. Open,
U.S. Open next? Okay.
I believe the Open's last.
Okay. Because they've changed the schedule.
I should know this.
You can't do that to us. You can't be changing the schedule of all the majors.
But
I do like that they are month after month after month after month.
I do too.
I personally like
I do too.
During this time of the year, it's good to have that. Let's go over to the Epic Companies hotline right now and go with our good friend Brandon Kristzal and talk about the NBA Finals. Nice enough to give us some time here on the phone lines as the Nuggets will be hosting the Miami Heat in Games 1 and 2 of a Game 1 coming up tomorrow. NBA Finals with the number 1 seed Denver Nuggets and the number 8 seed Miami Heat, who have already knocked out a 1 seed in the Milwaukee Bucks and a 2 seed in the Boston Celtics. Brandon, great to have you on with us here once again. We had you on for the Super Bowl, now having you on for the NBA Finals. We just go to you for the biggest moments, man.
Well, it works out this time around that I have to do a lot of traveling. I just drove from my office downtown for media day for Nuggets and Heat. And believe me, it's not that anyone cares about my schedule, but I got a wife's 40th birthday that is next weekend. So had the Celtics pulled off the miraculous comeback, that would have definitely screwed up either my coverage plans and or my marriage. So thankfully the Heat came through, and when I get done talking to you guys, I'm going to grab my media pass, and then we've got a little bit of Nuggets practice, media day for the Nuggets, and media day for the Heat, and then I don't know how much of the Heat practice we get to watch or how much I care to watch at that point. But yeah, so outside of Ball Arena, and looking forward to what will hopefully be a fun series, and obviously for the folks here in Denver, the first championship in their franchise history.
I don't know much about being married, but I heard that the birthdays that end in a 0 are important ones.
Yeah. Well, and with my wife, all birthdays tend to be important.
Yes.
So no one's ever going to get mad at you for over-celebrating or honoring them. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, will do. Very much. Got the Denver Nuggets, though, as the 1 seed here. We already had a listener call in and say, what do you think about rest versus rust? So I'll ask you. The Nuggets have been off for a little while. The Heat, who were up 3-0, gave everyone a little bit of a scare down in Miami and had to go to Game 7 to get that thing done against the Boston Celtics. They've been playing a little bit more the last couple of days. Do you think the Nuggets have used their rest wisely, or are you going to be a little bit rusty?
Well, I guess obviously we'll see, but Michael Malone, who probably is more old school, maybe that's growing up, the son of a coach. His dad, Brendan Malone, obviously coached the league for a long, long time and was an assistant for Chuck Daly on those bad boy Pistons teams, understands how to push his guys kind of to the brink, and maybe at times might even overdo it. You'll notice when they pull players, whether that's Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, he'll leave his guys in a little bit longer on the court because he's seen too many things happen, if you ask him. And so he gave them a couple days off. They obviously beat the Lakers a week ago Monday, and so they're going to have 9 days between games. But then I think, so that was Tuesday and Wednesday. I think by Thursday they started doing some light jogging, and by Friday we're having full-blown practices. I think they're trying to be controlled with that. I asked Jeff Green specifically about rest versus rust yesterday, and he's obviously a vet and has been around, forever. And he said, we earned our rest, and it's up to us to show that we don't have any rust. I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit, but that by taking care of business, and they beat the Timberwolves in those 5 games, got a little bit of extra rest before that Sun series, and that series did end up going 6, obviously, but then rolled through the Lakers. And when you've got a team with plenty of veterans, and not just Jeff Green, but Nikola Jokic certainly has miles on him, and Jamal Murray, coming off the knee. We know he's at 100%, but could use the extra rest. Same with guys like Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. with his back. We'll see. It's just that they've been so good at home, even with a little bit of extra break. I mentioned the opening series, the break between that and the Suns. They kind of ran the Suns out of the gym in games 1 and 5 here in Denver. So I wouldn't expect that they'll look too rusty because they're so comfortable at home.
Brandon, one of the things we keep talking about on the show, kind of jokingly, kind of not, is about the elevation in Denver and how much of a factor it plays. I've played in Denver, and I know it is a factor for sure, but I'm sure basketball's a little bit different. You've seen the Nuggets play at home. Obviously, like you just mentioned, they've had a lot of success. How big a deal is the elevation? Are we making too much of it, or have you seen it play an effect in some of these games?
Well, I think when you talk to people, they'll tell you that it has an effect. The Heat flew straight from Boston here, got in late Monday night. I'm guessing they probably didn't do very much yesterday, and then they're going to practice today and then obviously play tomorrow. But they've been playing, and that was something Michael Malone talked about, was that these guys have been playing every night, and and his team's just excited to play a game again. And it's just cool that it happens to be the finals. Was his exact quote was that it was cool. But it will be interesting to see. Now, the Heat are a little deeper than either the Lakers or the Suns in terms of the guys on the bench that they use and rely on. At the same time, what's allowed the Nuggets to succeed is kind of their quality depth. When they get to 7 and 8 guys, they haven't really gone beyond that in the playoffs and haven't needed to. But we've definitely seen teams that will come in here and struggle. There's also kind of multiple lines of thinking, but one of them is that you get here as late as possible. So you'll see NFL teams that are playing the Broncos, and maybe even college teams that are playing CU or Air Force or obviously Colorado State, or go down to New Mexico where the elevation is even higher, might travel as late as they can so that bodies don't even really have time to adjust. Like, let's just go play, right, and allow adrenaline to take over. But it is real, and anybody that moves here and then starts working out will tell you that, or just comes to visit. They can feel it. At the same time, we're talking about the greatest athletes in the world and NBA players, and even though Jimmy Butler's got a little bit of mileage on him, it's not like Udonis Haslem's going to be asked to really play at all, let alone 30 minutes. So I don't think we're as worried. But it can certainly be an advantage, especially with the way the Nuggets play, and they like to get out in transition. They're also the number one transition defense. The Heat have been the number one transition offense in the playoffs. So it'll be curious to see if the combination of playing as many tough games as they had to play while the Nuggets got to rest and the elevation will play a factor in Game 1. You got to think that by Sunday, when Game 2 rolls around, you get a couple more days out here, that it won't be much of a factor, assuming that everybody from the Heat is relatively healthy with their legs and all of that. But it is real. You could also go the route of my guy Bill Self as a KU grad, who, when the Morris twins were at KU, they played out here against the Buffs, and he said, "Don't worry about the elevation because the doors are closed because it's winter, so it won't even affect you guys." And I'm not sure if that worked or not, but KU won the game.
Hey,
I like it.
Mental, right? Yes. Just to get something that gets you mentally more ready for it at the very least. But it is kind of interesting that Denver has not lost a home game in these playoffs. Miami has won every single Game 1 of the series they have played, and all of those have been on the road. So it does seem like a little bit of maybe a slightly more pivotal Game 1 than most series, where it's obviously it's a best of 7. Game 1 is just Game 1, but it does seem like a little bit of rock versus a hard place there.
Well, and this is the reason the Nuggets were, if they were pulling for a team, we'll put that in quotes, wanted the Heat to win. It wasn't that the Heat were the 8th seed, and to be honest, I'm not sure they are a real 8th seed. I'm not trying to, pull mental gymnastics the way Michael Malone might have yesterday when he was saying that, throw the 8 seeds out. They beat the 1 seed. They beat the 2 seed. They've been in the conference finals and were the 1 seed in the East a year ago. Mm-hmm. Injuries are a big part as to why they struggled to even get into the playoffs and have to play in the play-in game. But they aren't some upstart young team that's just figuring it out, right? They've obviously been there and done that. And so their success on the road stems obviously from what Jimmy Butler does and then trickles down to the rest of the team. But the Nuggets have not only been good in Game 1s here, they only lost 3 games at home all year. And so that whether it's elevation or just the quality of the team, kind of all of the above, and certainly more quality of the team than elevation, because last time I checked, the Nuggets have been in the NBA for 47 years and have been playing at the same elevation, although the arena moved about a quarter mile from McNichols to where Ball Arena is now. They still have 0 championships. So the elevation can't just be it. You have to be a good team. And so the Nuggets have obviously taken on the 3 challengers in Minnesota, Phoenix with Kevin Durant and Booker, and then LeBron and AD and the Lakers, and passed those Game 1 tests. But as we know, stealing a game one can be huge, and it will then have erased what the Nuggets accomplished by being the 1 seed in the West. They would have had to go to Boston for game one, as we kind of touched on, but by earning that and having a lower seed or a team with a lower record, I guess to be more accurate, come here, it would be a shame in their eyes to give it away in game one or game two. So they want to hold serve at home. And what's interesting too, because we were talking to one of the odds makers from DraftKings earlier today on my station here in Denver, and there's not a lot of value when the Nuggets are minus 400, right? You got to put up 400 to win 100, but there might be value game to game, right? And maybe looking at the Heat, who I think are 8.5-point underdogs tomorrow, if you think they could steal a game one, maybe that's where you can go find a little bit of value or keep the game close. At the same time, like I mentioned, whether it was the Lakers did make game one close, but the Nuggets ran the Suns and the Timberwolves off the court in game one.
And Brandon Kristzal here with us, KOA down in Denver, talking the NBA Finals with the Nuggets and the Heat, getting ready to go in game one tomorrow. The Nuggets have never won the NBA Finals. This is their first trip to the Finals. They've been in the Western Conference Finals a handful of times in their history. So just give us the pulse of the fan base. Is there nervous energy? Is it like maybe overconfidence that we've played so well, we just swept the Lakers, we're going to run through this thing? What's the pulse of the fan base right now?
I don't think there's a nervous energy because they realize how good their team is. The overconfidence is probably closer to accurate in that they won so easily in those last couple of games against the Suns, right after winning the first two, then losing those close games in Phoenix. And I was out there for games 3 and 4. They then, in game 5 blitzed them, and it was even more of a gap in game 6 because I think Book was a little banged up and they ran out of juice. And then to sweep the Lakers in the fashion they did, and I know the Lakers were essentially in every game, but to sweep the Lakers, it's easy to feel confident. And not only is it that the Heat are the 8th seed, but you look until Tyler Hero comes back, Jimmy Butler is awesome, but they're going to throw a bunch of different looks at him and Aaron Gordon a lot and Tavius Caldwell-Pope and some Bruce Brown and mix things up. But then the Nuggets have owned the Heat. They've won 9 of the last 10, and Nikola Jokic has almost a triple-double, not just obviously through these playoffs, but in almost every game. I went and just looked, and it's 25, 15, and 12, 25, 13, and 11. And so, like I said, 9 of their last 10, they've won the last 4 matchups, whether it was in Miami or here. I know those are regular season games, but lots of teams go to Miami over the years, whether it was a good Heat team, whether LeBron was there or not, and maybe have a little too much fun in South Beach the night before and leave with the loss. Well, the Nuggets have managed to avoid that, and so I think the Nuggets also will be able to attack the zone. They were the number 1 team against the zone all season, so even though the Heat have played their zone really well, and I love Eric Spoelstra. He's a hell of a coach and has proven to be so even without LeBron or D-Wade. But I think that the Nuggets, when given time, are able to sort of crack whatever code needs to be deciphered. We saw that after game 1 with the Lakers, where Rui Hachimura was man-to-man on Jokic, allowing Anthony Davis to kind of play free safety, and by game 2, that was a non-issue. So I think that, looking at it, it would be hard to see a world where the Nuggets don't win this, but I understand the fans are a little overly enthusiastic. Nonetheless, they've had 9 days to build up, and there's pop-up stands all over town with gear. The Avs won it last year. That was really fun, but they obviously had won it a couple times. With this being their first trip and ticket prices are through the roof, it's going to be a really fun atmosphere, and obviously folks around here are hoping for a parade in a couple weeks, if not sooner.
Brandon, I'm sure this is something you've discussed at length on your show, but I will ask you it anyway for us here back in Fargo. Should Nikola Jokic have been MVP?
Yes and no. Joker doesn't seem to really mind it. Joel Embiid was really good, especially late. The one game they played, it seemed like Embiid ducked him here like he has. He hasn't played a game in Denver in like 4 or 5 years for whatever reason. But that game on national TV on that Saturday afternoon, early evening, Embiid was awesome, and Joker was good, but his team lost. That being said, they kind of shut it down. The Nuggets had the 1 seed in hand. Joker had like a hand thing and a calf thing going on, so he just cruised and skipped 5 of the last 7 games, which is when some people want to finally wait and get their vote in. So Nikola Jokic has been the best player. I understand the fatigue. Like I mentioned, I went to KU, so my dislike for Joel Embiid is a lot lower than plenty of other folks that watch Joker play a lot or cheer for the Nuggets or whatever it may be. But Jokic doesn't. When I say he doesn't care about stuff like that, it would have been cool and it would have helped tell his story a little bit more. And maybe it's not his last MVP, but if he would become the 4th player, joining Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, as the only 3-time MVPs in consecutive years. It would have been pretty remarkable. Kendrick Perkins is doing all he can to kind of walk back the fact that he in a silly fashion made it about race and the voters and this and that, and who they vote for, because he's, singing Joker's praises at every turn. But the second MVP award that he won last year, remember they've renamed all the awards now, so he got the trophy that they brought to Serbia, and then when he showed up at the start of the year, they gave him the Michael Jordan MVP award. So I guess he technically has 3 trophies, right? Because I don't think they took that second one back. He left it here at the building. Like, he forgot to take it with him. That's how, I don't say little he cares, but how much he's just not thinking about it. And so he wants to win these 4 games, win 4 games in this series. And I think a finals MVP, I'm not sure who that's named for at this point, because I feel like all the other people we can think of, the awards have been given names, and maybe you guys know who the finals MVP goes to. But that'll matter more
Bill
than
Russell.
winning a third. Well, so Bill Russell gets that. Okay, so it is the Bill Russell finals MVP. I guess that's right. Michael Jordan's a regular season. Okay, so that makes total sense, right? So the Bill Russell finals MVP, because it'll come with a championship, I think means the most to him.
Do you expect any bad blood to raise to the surface, stemming off of when Nikola Jokic pushed Markieff Morris in the back in 2021?
Well, I think if Markieff Morris were still here, and if you look at the number of players that are on the team with Miami still, it's Jimmy, is it Kyle Lowry, obviously Haslam, who's, he played against Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain, it seems like. And then I think, and I guess Tyler Hero would have been there. I doubt it, because I think that was mostly between Jokic, Markieff, Marcus Morris, and Jokic's 2 brothers. And so I don't expect that to be the case, because the stakes are too high. And so to make it about that, I guess Bam Adebayo might have been there too, right, now you think about it. They want to go out and just try to win games and win a championship. So to do something stupid, it feels like something that either Dylan Brooks might do or even Draymond Green. But I just don't see a world where it plays a factor. Now, if the Nuggets jump up 2-0, maybe by the time they get down to Miami, if it's not going great in Game 3, who knows what creeps up then, but I doubt it's a factor at all.
Again, Brandon Kristzal here with us. One more question for you, Brandon. We really do appreciate the time. What matchup are you looking for? I think we talk about Jokic. I think Murray doesn't get enough credit, especially what he does in the playoffs. What's the matchup between a couple of players or a stat that you're kind of watching?
Well, I think Murray's ability to get through whatever defense the Heat throw at him will be really interesting. And then Aaron Gordon, it's funny because Aaron Gordon gets plenty of praise for drawing the toughest matchup, right? Karl Anthony Towns, a little bit of Anthony Edwards in the first round, a lot of Kevin Durant, a little bit of Booker, but mostly Kevin Durant in the second round, and then LeBron in the third round for the most part, a little AD here and there. All of them had pretty good games, especially if you look at just their averages, but it was how hard did AG make it for him. And so I asked him yesterday, because Michael Malone had just said that Jimmy Butler's as good as anybody in the league at getting to his spots where he wants to operate from, and he has, a full arsenal in his bag of tricks. How do you make that hard? And so that's what I asked AG, and he's like, look, you just have to work. And so seeing how many shots it'll take Jimmy Butler to get his number, it's fascinating, right? Because, like I said, KD's numbers were good, and LeBron's numbers were really good as well. But you ask anybody, like, Aaron Gordon was great defensively because he just is making him work a little harder. So I think how much can he affect Jimmy Butler, which then affects the offense, especially if they don't have to double Jimmy much, and they trust that AG will do most of the work to make Jimmy's life difficult. That'll cut down on the open threes for guys like Caleb Martin. And so I think kind of those two things. Will Jamal Murray be that X factor, because we know what Joker's going to be able to do, right? If he doesn't get a triple-double, it'll surprise us at this point, which is crazy to say about any player, really, in any NBA game, let alone in the playoffs, but that's what he's averaging. So, yeah, Jamal for the Nuggets, and then what can AG do? And then Tyler Hero, too. If he can get back and actually have impact on the game, will be really fascinating as well.
And Brandon Kristzal here with us. You can find him on Twitter at BK Denver Sports. We'll let you get back to planning that 40th birthday party and covering this finals series, my man. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
There you go. It's Brandon Kristzal. BK. You can have it your way with Brandon Kristzal. Take a break. We'll come back and wrap up hour number 1. On the other side, you're listening to The Insiders.
where the bison roam. Bison 1660.
In 1953, Bill Samuels created a simple bourbon, while Margie Samuels worked on her creative vision. A bottle hand-dipped in red wax, wrapped in a hand-cut label, filled with handcrafted bourbon that elevated flavor and remains unchanged as of today. Aromas of woody oak, caramel, and vanilla, with a taste that is sweet and balanced with caramel, vanilla, and fruity essences. Every barrel of Maker's Mark is aged to taste, not time. Maker's Mark, the star of your home bar. Please drink responsibly.
The strenuous conditions inside a race car is what makes our sport very challenging physically.
Joey Logano is a multiple NASCAR champion.
My lower back pain, my knee pain would all come in just through the grind of the race season.
And this is Joey's Good Feet store.
When I was fit for arch supports at the Good Feet store, for me it completely changed the game. Not only help with my pain, but completely changed the way I feel and perform. As I learned my feet can help my back, I never really thought of it that way, but it really does end up that way, and my balance improved dramatically. When I left there, I was like, I gotta go tell my pit crew about this. With the arch supports, we can be better, we can be faster. There's only one thing I changed. It was just putting the arch supports in. I was hurting, I changed one thing, and I feel great. This is like the best kept secret. And one way I'm mad about it, because I wish I knew sooner. You can't just take my word for it. Go to the Good Feet store, try them out, and see it for yourself.
Stop by the Good Feet store on 13th Avenue near TJ Maxx Plaza for a free fitting. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit mygoodfeet.com.
Attention, attention! Are you a plumbing journeyman or apprentice? We want you! The region's fastest growing heating, cooling, and plumbing contractor, Valley Service Mechanical, is looking for journeymen and apprentices, and we're hiring immediately. We offer competitive pay, incentives, and a fun team to work with. If you're not happy where you're at, we'll make it worth your time to check out why you should join the Valley Service Mechanical team. It's easy to apply online today at valleyservice.net. Just click the red banner. That's valleyservice.net.
Not in love with your house, but love where you live? Delta Design and Construction has the solutions to suit your changing lifestyle. Whether it's utilizing valuable basement space or custom designing your dream kitchen, their design consultants can help you envision a new space. Remodeling is a cost-effective way to make that not-so-perfect home perfect for you. Get the living or working space of your dreams. Delta Design and Construction, your remodeling and insurance repair specialists. Beauty and quality by design. Delta Design. DeltaDesign.biz.
Around here, we know that the summer goes by fast. So that's why Dakota Magic Casino wants you to have some summertime fun. Come in and play now at Dakota Magic Casino to earn entries into a drawing that happens Saturday, June 10th and Saturday, June 24th. On those days, every hour starting at 1 p.m., 5 lucky winners will be drawn to have a chance to win up to $500 in cash or qualify to win the grand prize. On June 10th, it's a jet ski. And on June 24th, it's a golf cart. For more, go to DakotaMagic.com. Entity of the Dakota Nation Gaming Enterprise.
Bison 1660.
It made me feel so good inside.
No idea, and I don't really want to know this one. I think we should just move on based off what's already been said. I have no clue.
Come on. Come on.
I know.
You'll hear it a little
you guys
bit.
got to stop talking. Michael Jackson? No. Yes?
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just early on with whatever voice that was at the beginning, I wanted you to feel good inside. And I'm like, I don't know. I think we should move off at this one. I think we should move on.
Michael Jackson.
I'm trying to think of this song.
It's not Thriller, is it?
No.
I didn't know if it had like a weird intro, something like that. I'm terrible with music.
Michael Jackson? Anything? Come on.
Give me a second.
You'll
Once they
hear
say
it right
the
here.
name
You're
of
going to hear it right here.
Want to Love You? Pretty Young Thing.
There it is.
There you go.
You only get a half.
I don't know
that's
names
fine.
of
I'll take
songs
half.
very well. I know the rhythm, I know the songs, I know the lyrics. I just don't really know the name. Except for the other ones I had. School's Out for Summer.
You
What was
nailed
the other
that one right away.
What was the other one that we had? It doesn't matter.
Anything you want.
Any way you want.
Oh, any way you want it, because they said it like immediately.
Sure.
That was
Yeah,
awesome.
that one. That one should have been a quarter point.
I'll take it. Whatever. Andy Reckoff, Kyle Emanuel, Micah Bindi here with you on the Insiders. We will, by the way, have our U.S. Open coming up here in a couple of weeks. Another chance to win a 30-day pass to Golf Addiction. Talking about the heat that's been going on. A little hot today. We could go inside to Golf Addictions. 70 and sunny. Perfect conditions inside Golf Addiction every single day. So we'll have that coming up here in another couple of weeks with the U.S. Open. That is the next tournament. We were discussing that earlier. That's next. Then the Open Championship to round it out. U.S. Open, do you know where it's at this year?
L.A. Country Club.
Yes, on the North Course.
Yeah.
Have you played that one?
I have not.
Okay. Did you play it at the other courses? At
Yeah,
LA
what's
Country
the
Club? South Course?
No, I didn't play that.
This one's the North Course.
Played the Riviera.
Okay, Riviera Country Club.
Yes, where the Genesis Open is.
Gotcha.
I have
Okay.
played that one.
And this week, PGA Tour, they are at the Memorial at Muirfield Village in Dublin, Ohio. Last year's winner was Billy Horschel. The purse for this event is $20 million, so you'd assume elevated event. The winner this year is making $3.6 million.
Oh, okay. I was low.
Yeah.
I
thought it was going to be a little bit.
I thought it was like 5.
I was going to be a little bit more.
Between 5 and 8.
Apparently, at least that's from CBS Sports.
Okay,
$20 million purse,
3.6.
$3.6 million going to the winners. That means
Okay.
more money also dished out. You don't have to win the event. I think that was the main reason of these elevated events too. Of okay, you can kind of have a teens finish and still be making, or even in the 20s or 30s finish and still be making pretty good money, and not like just covering your costs for the week basically.
That seems low for $20 million purse.
Yeah, I would have figured 5.
Well, shoot the messenger here.
I would have thought the winner gets 5, and then
I
you
would've
split
thought so,
15 between everyone else.
Last year's winner was Billy Horschel. Do you want to guess how much Billy Horschel made? I'm guessing at this point it wasn't elevated last year.
1.5.
1.2.
2.1.
Oh.
2.16. $2,160,000.
Would you say they get this year? 3.5?
3.6.
So it went up 1.4?
1.5.
Not enough money.
Like yeah. Not enough.
Not enough money.
Not enough, man.
That should
Pretty good gig if you
you
can
should
get
be,
it.
you should be winning like $7 million.
Yeah, it's got to be more, man.
And then next week is the RBC Canadian Open as well.
Is
We know who the previous winner of that one was.
Spieth?
Nope.
Oh, that's a good guess.
It's a good guess.
Someone
like Spieth.
Justin Thomas? No.
Nope. This was right when he got
Rory.
got mad. Yep, Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, Rory, that's right.
Got mad at the Live. I think it was the one that put him past Greg Norman
Yeah.
for most wins on tour. And he kind of like flipped the bird basically to Greg Norman on the press conference as well.
Mad Rory was good.
Mad Rory was good. We got to get Rory back to being Mad Rory again.
Maybe he's on his way back because he just said some interesting things today. I don't know if you saw that. He said Brooks Koepka should be allowed to be on the U.S. Ryder Cup team. Obviously, Rory plays for the European team. But no Live European players should be allowed to be on the European team based on how they're playing. Which I
if
thought
it's just
was,
based on how they're playing, then yeah, sure. Theif they're not playing well.
right, but
As long as if there's someone
you
who
don't
is
think-
playing
you don't
well.
think like Cam Smith is playing well enough? Can he be on the team?
I don't know. Well, I guess he
From
finished
Australia?
It was under par, I guess, at the
How's that
PGA
work?
Championship. And yeah, he's Australian. He's not European. It's Europe versus U.S. It's
It
not,
is.
the
I thought it
world
was the
versus
world
US.
versus U.S.
Europe.
No, you're right. Yeah. So I guess Cam Smith wouldn't be there.
Yeah, so he's saying, Live Tour players should be allowed to play on the Ryder Cup. Brooks Koepka should because he's playing well. European players, playing very well.
But he kind of made it seem like unless they won a major, they shouldn't be able to play, which I don't know if I agree with.
Well,
if
if he's saying Brooks can, then you can't have the double
Brooks
standard.
can, then anyone can.
But that's the problem with how they play different ways in Live.
You don't know if they're playing well or not.
Are you actually playing well? Because with like the teams, and then let's just take they're playing less holes, whatever. Are they playing good when they're playing? I feel like that's easy to factor in of like, okay, what are they shooting in each round?
Someone like Sergio Garcia, how's he playing? I don't know.
Not that good.
Yeah.
Or
you got some pretty good Europeans.
Is Phil playing good enough to be on the
No.
U.S. Ryder Cup team? He just got second at the Masters.
No. It was one tournament.
what about Ian
he also,
Ian
I'm pretty sure,
Poulter?
missed the cut at the PGA Championship.
Well, a lot of
No, he
people
didn't.
missed the cut at the
No, he
PGA.
made
Did he make the cut?
Yeah, he made
Barely?
the cut. Yep.
Okay.
He didn't have a high finish. But
There's
he
a lot
did
of
make
other
the
good
cut.
Americans that are playing pretty well. Scotty Scheffler. Brooks Koepka's playing better than Phil. I would think there'd be other picks before Phil.
I do too. Phil could probably be that guy for maybe one round, but
By the way, who won the U.S. Open last year? We want to take a break. Stevie Keller coming up in a couple minutes.
Matt Fitzpatrick.
Good one. Well
Out
done.
of the bunker on
Look
18.
at you.
Yeah.
Great golf mind. Over
One
there.
shot lead, and he hit it into the bunker, like a terrible bunker, and then he hit a miraculous shot to like 10 feet.
Now, I think this is where the golfers maybe have a little bit of an issue. Last year, Matt Fitzpatrick won 3.15 for winning the U.S. Open. Billy Horschel won 2.16 for the Memorial.
Yeah.
I think as the majors is like you win those things, you should be getting, I think, quite a bit more for winning those ones. Maybe it is that way this year.
I don't even
Who
think
knows?
the Masters was much more. I think the Masters is right around 3 too.
Haven't
getting
even-
more by winning.
Haven't even announced what the purse is yet for the U.S. Open. A couple weeks away. June 15th through the 18th. They're at L.A. Country Club. The North
coming up.
Course. Yeah, it is. A couple weeks. Get your teams ready, boys. See if I can pick more than 3 golfers that can make a cut for the first time.
Defending
all year.
champ over here. I'm going to brag about that for another 2 weeks.
You got a couple weeks to brag about it. Then you got to put that title back on the line. One title that's on the line, NDSU Track and Field, continuing to win titles in the Summit League. Stevie Keller, director of Track and Field for the Bison, will join us when we come back. Hour number 2 of the Insiders next.
Not only does Golf Addiction have the best technology in the industry, but now they've got the best deal all summer long. 30 days of unlimited golf for just $50. Grab your buddies and get to Golf Addiction for cheap golf, amazing food, and daily all-day drink specials. No one else gets close to Golf Addiction's prices, food, full bar, and drink specials. It's Golf Addiction for virtual rounds of golf with your family and friends. And right now, unlimited 30-day summer golf pass is just $50. Grab your sticks and get to Golf Addiction.
Dakota Refrigeration, now known as DRI, has been serving Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Montana for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, DRI is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical service needs. From the entryway to the kitchen, from hot to cold, from dreary to bright, DRI has you covered. DRI, formerly Dakota Refrigeration, with locations in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot, online at dacref.com.
In 1953, Bill Samuels created a simple bourbon, while Margie Samuels worked on her creative vision. A bottle hand-dipped in red wax, wrapped in a hand-cut label, filled with handcrafted bourbon that elevated flavor and remains unchanged as of today. Aromas of woody oak, caramel, and vanilla, with a taste that is sweet and balanced with caramel, vanilla, and fruity essences. Every barrel of Maker's Mark is aged to taste, not time. Maker's Mark, the star of your home bar. Please drink responsibly.
When it comes to a diamond, we let you choose. Hi, I'm Aaron at Wimmer's Diamonds. From natural to lab-grown diamonds, we carry all the options our industry has to offer. Our team of experts is here to help you pick the perfect shape, size, color, and cut of diamond, along with a perfect ring mounting for your engagement or anniversary. We also offer the area's largest selection of finished jewelry. When you're ready to give the gift of sparkle, stop by and see us at Wimmer's Diamonds, 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
Hey, it's Kyle Emanuel, former defensive end for the Bison. I have always tried to surround myself with people I trust and who want me to succeed. It's been my life motto, and this is so true when you are choosing your insurance game plan, which is why I have the good neighbors of Ryan Kill State Farm on my team. Ryan made finding the right insurance plan so simple. I told him my priorities, and he gave me clear options so I could make an educated decision without pressure or a hidden agenda. There are so many insurance agencies, but not many as great as Ryan Kill State Farm.
If you want a good neighbor on your sideline, reach out by going to RyanKillInsurance.com.
It's the Cash for Cars event at Gateway Chevrolet. All makes, all models. Sell your ride today. Whether it has 50,000 miles or 150,000 miles, Gateway Chevrolet will buy it. Cars, trucks, and SUVs, get cash today. Gateway Chevrolet needs good, clean, used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Sell your ride today, whether it has 50,000 miles or 150,000 miles. Gateway will buy it. The Cash for Cars buying event today at Gateway Chevrolet in Fargo.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
And here's what you need to know.
In the NFL, Jets coach Robert Saleh said Aaron Rodgers remains limited at OTAs due to a calf injury, but the team is hopeful he will be a full participant by Friday. Speaking of Rodgers, The Athletic reports that during the 2021 offseason, Rodgers' agent Dave Dunn requested Packers president Mark Murphy to either fire GM Brian Gutekunst or trade Rodgers. Of course, we now know neither of those things happened. Giants coach Brian Daboll said the team will do its due diligence in looking at a free agent receiver DeAndre Hopkins. In the NBA, the New York Knicks and GM Scott Perry will reportedly part ways this summer with his contract set to expire. Today is the deadline for college basketball players to withdraw their name from the NBA draft and return to school. Among the players returning next year, UConn's Tristan Newton, UCLA's Adem Bona, and Michigan State's A.J. Hoggard and Jaden Adkins. At the French Open, top American woman Jess Pegula advanced to the third round. I'm Nick Cope.
This is The Insiders, taking you inside the lines and behind the scenes of NDSU and around the region.
I hang heavy on your thoughts because you are the Bison gods.
That should be a penalty.
The Insiders.
Do you have any other questions?
You know it.
The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
Okay, so what are you saying?
These guys do an unbelievable job, and tune into The Insiders.
I did have one. I do not apologize for taking it out of the six-pack.
First thing you should know about us is that we have people everywhere.
The Insider. The Insider. The Insider.
The prices were that shocking. I wasn't listening.
I'm an old soul.
Now, here are the insiders.
Well, we're waiting.
12:04 on the Insiders. Hour number 2 underway for you here on a Wednesday edition of the program. Coming up the rest of the week, we got Buy or Sell tomorrow. We've got our future crop of bison and our feel-good news of the week on Friday, too. Some more things happening each and every week here. Keep track of some of the other stuff that's happening in the world of sports. Not only NBA Finals get going, got Stanley Cup Finals on Saturday. That will start up. And then we had, the deadline of the NBA draft that Grant Nelson pulled his name out of the draft. June 1st is kind of the deadline for a lot of contracts in the NFL. I know Jeremy Fowler was on ESPN earlier today and saying he still expects Dalvin Cook to rather be traded than cut. Doesn't think he'll be cut by the Vikings, but possibly traded. Does that happen over the next couple of days? We'll try and keep you up to date on all those things happening around the region. Right now, though, let's go over to the Epic Companies hotline. Start off hour number 2 with the Director of Track and Field at NDSU, Stevie Keller. Nice enough to join us on the Epic Companies hotline to start off the last hour of the program. Coach, great to have you on with us again, sir. Just first off, congratulations on 2 more Summit League titles. Haven't had you on since the men and the women swept those titles a couple of weeks ago. Have you dried out from the steeple pit jump-in yet?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it was seems like a long time ago, but it was only a few weeks back. But yeah, that was a great weekend for our team and our program, and to win a couple titles at home makes it that much more special for our student athletes and all the fans and everybody that was out there.
We've heard it from a few other people, but from your lips, what made jumping in the steeple pit a new tradition? What was that the thing to do?
Well, I guess it hasn't been a tradition for a long time, but I remember we used to throw Larson and Ryan in there back probably in the Division II there. So I think I told the girls and the guys after indoor if we won both, they could throw me in the steeplechase pit, and that was enough for them to remind me constantly that they were going to win both, and I was getting thrown in the steeplechase pit. So, but it was fun. They had a blast with it, and they're not very deep, so I was happy nobody got hurt.
Yeah, that was my thought. I was like, it's not very deep. There are some dives going in there. I definitely ended up hurting myself a little bit probably, but you guys are much more finely tuned athletes than either me or Kyle sitting here on a desk talking to you right now. But congratulations once again on that. I know you've had some of the guys also get invited to nationals or qualify for nationals, I should say, so we'll touch on those here in just a little bit. But what have these last couple of weeks been like? Going, conference meet, opening up your new track here at home as well on the campus of NDSU, and then going to the preliminaries and kind of going all around. What is this time like for track and field athletes and yourself?
It's a crazy time. It's like a whirlwind, and the whole outdoor season is kind of like that. Once really just when you hit January, you hit the indoor season. It's just, I always say it's like full throttle till the end of June. But it does slow down a little bit here, the last couple weeks. But getting ready for the conference meet the week prior to we hosted a home meet, so that gave us an opportunity to get things set up, start the setup process, kind of get a feel for how the facility is going to work, where we want to, certain scoreboards, just little things that you don't have to do when you've had a facility for years. So it's just a little bit more, thinking and setup. And then conference week was just, kind of a blur with all that goes on in the 3 days of, Thursday, Friday, Saturday competition. And just, the kids, the way they stepped up and competed, and, talking to alumni and fans, and, they ask a lot of questions about, like, did you guys think you were going to win, things like that. And I think the biggest thing for this group was they didn't want to lose on our new track, and I think that's what really motivated them. It wasn't, hey, we want to win conference. It was like, there's no way we're losing at home type of a deal. And I think that's just the mentality that both the men and the women brought into that weekend. And there was some times during the week for the men especially, like I thought going into the meet we looked, pretty promising on paper. But then we had some unfortunate things with some, one of our top guys had to have his appendix out on Monday. One of our other guys tweaked a hamstring on Tuesday. He didn't compete. Neither one of them competed. Another one of our guys had some abdominal issues on doing some handoffs, but he was able to compete. And then, you get into the meet, Zach McGlynn has a great first day of the decathlon, warming up on day 2 in the hurdles and hyperextends his knee. Now he's out. So, definitely was some adversity on the men's side where, I started to get nervous, real nervous, that we were leaving too many points out there. But they just kept battling and kept fighting, and it was so fun to see how they rose and competed and came together as a team.
Yeah, Coach, as you mentioned, you went out to Sacramento, California, competed there in the West preliminary rounds. 4 men were able to qualify for nationals: Trevor Otterdahl in the hammer throw, Matt Kraft javelin, Benji Phillips javelin as well, and Jacob Rodin in the 800 meter. I wanted to touch on Jacob. According to my sources here, he is the first Bison man to compete at the NCAA Division I championships in an individual running event. Just how impressive is that in his season as a whole?
Yeah, I think that's super impressive. Anytime you can make it to the NCAA finals in track and field, you're at another class. You're at another level. I think they say about 3% of the student athletes that compete during the season make the NCAA finals. So when you start looking at that, that's a pretty small group. And for Jacob, he's had a phenomenal career here, but really a phenomenal year. He knows what's at stake. He knows this could be his last race. And every week, he takes advantage of those opportunities, and he's just a tough kid. The race didn't play out like I think he had maybe thought it was going to, or any of us really. There was some really fast guys in his heat, and we assumed that it was going to go out fast. Well, Jacob ended up, not that he's not fast, but it's kind of nice to follow. But at 200 meters, he could tell it was slow, so he kind of picked up the pace and took the lead, and he led until about 80 meters, 100 meters to go. And the thought process for him was, you got to be in the top 3. And at that point, when they came through slow, he knew that was very important to be in the top 3 because their heat wasn't as fast as the other heats. They take the next 3 fastest times, and then they have 3 heats. So you take 9 automatic qualifiers, and you get 3 based on time. Unfortunately, he was able to hold some guys off down the home stretch and came in 3rd. So.
That's pretty impressive, even like in the middle of your own race, thinking this one isn't as fast as the others. I got to get top 3, and having that ability to think while you're also competing out there on the course. We mentioned that the 4 guys that are making it, they're going to be participating Wednesday, June 7th at Mike A. Myers Stadium on the University of Texas down there in Austin. I haven't looked at the extended forecast, but knowing June and Texas, it's probably going to be pretty hot, a little steamy. Is that a factor for you guys? How do you go about trying to prepare for what could be pretty hot and steamy conditions?
Yeah, you look at the hottest part of the day in Fargo and you try to practice at that time. And, we're fortunate right now that it's been extremely warm for the end of May in Fargo. But then a lot of the races are later in the night. It's the same conditions for everybody. That's kind of the mentality we have. So, yeah, we're going to sweat a lot. There's going to be a lot of sunshine. But it's one of those things. You get out there, you compete, you kind of forget about those things.
The other participants for you as well, Trevor Otterdahl, Matt Kraft, Benji Phillips, all field athletes. I know when you guys had the Summit League Championships, you not only swept the podium, you had the top 4 in some of those field events on the men's side. What has allowed the field programs? It's been good for a long, long time, and clearly all the program, all the events for your track and field programs have been good for quite a while here with the success. But especially those field guys, javelin, hammer throw, shot put, what's allowed them to keep on getting better and not just have a couple guys on the podium, but sweeping the podium year in and year out?
Yeah, we pride ourselves on building a well-rounded program here that we can score, points in every event at the Summit League, and that's our goal as a staff and as a program. And so this program's been dominant for a long time. And, they were dominant in the Division II era and then Division I recently, and they really pride themselves on carrying on that tradition of bison throws, bringing in the right type of kids that are going to develop. And that's what we're all about here, is bringing kids in and developing them over their 4 or 5 years that they're here and, sticking with them, wanting them to stay here, things like that. So, Benji and Trevor are veterans to the national meet. Both those guys have been to several national meets. They've been All-Americans. They kind of know what to expect. Matt, he kind of, this has been a big breakthrough year for him. I think he opened up, he's a javelin thrower, so with the javelin, those guys start when everybody else does in September, but they don't get to compete till March. So it gets to be a long time without throwing in a competition. But he opened up the season down at USF in Tampa with a big PR. I think he PR'd in every throw, and then just continue to build off that throughout the year. And then obviously wins the Summit title and kind of shows that competitor in him. But then more importantly, at the NCAA first round, his first 2 throws were great. And I think it's one of those things that's like, all right, let's see how he reacts. He came down the runway on the last throw and hit a big throw, hit a PR, and advance on the finals. So it's one of those things that you like to see the young kids grow up and be able to compete at a high level. So that was really, really cool to see.
And we had Trevor on after you guys won the Summit League outdoor titles there, and it was great to have him on and hear his perspective on everything. Obviously, that Otterdahl name has been pretty good for you guys here for a couple of years. What similarities and what differences do you see between Trevor and Peyton?
Man, well, they're both very talented young men. It's such a great family. I mean, we've had, Trevor's been here now 6 years, and he's a real leader of that program, the throws program, and he's seen a lot of change obviously over those 6 years. And then Peyton being here, for 5 years prior to that, those guys thrown together for a while. It's just, great family. They're great competitors, but just really good people. Willing to help, smart kids. So I think they're both super competitive, but you don't really see that, and they're pretty humble.
And we got to touch on the women's program for you guys as well. Again, Director of Track and Field, Stevie Keller, here with us on the Insiders. Nell Graham in particular, I know she was named, I think, the MVP of the championships, and I don't even remember what the number is that Matt Larson told us she competed in events-wise for you at the outdoors, but it was a lot of them. The way she stepped up for that team to get them back on top, what can you say about Nell's performance here this year?
Yeah, you talk about the conference meet just all year. Nell is she's been motivated to compete in a lot of events at the outdoor conference meet, and she had a great conference meet and great outdoor season. One of the biggest things going into was trying to get her a conference title. She's been second a number of times. She's been third a number of times. So looking at the heptathlon, knowing that she had a shot of winning that was kind of our starting point with, like, let's go after the title in the heptathlon. And everything else is an added bonus. And so midway through this outdoor season, I'm looking at trying to get her to the first round of nationals, and the 400 is a pretty deep event. Heptathlon's tough because they only take the top 24 to the national meet. So when we went down to California, I said, I'm going to put you in the 400 hurdles. She's never ran them before, but she's sprint hurdled, and she can run a good quarter. And, coach thinking that 400 hurdles will be easy, we'll just throw her in it. She probably ran that race 6 times is all this year, made the first round of nationals. So it kind of tells you how tough she is, how talented she is. But then to continue on to the conference meet, we decided to double her in the 400 hurdles, which is that's not easy to do. But then when you add doing a heptathlon on top of that, the 2 days prior to, it requires a lot of, guts and skill and things like that. So, but she came back on Saturday and out of lane 8 wins the 400. I wouldn't say it's out of nowhere. I don't think she was expected not to be a contender, but we do have some really good 400 runners in the conference. And then, I think about 45 minutes later, she came back and was top 5 in the 400 hurdles, and then probably another 45 minutes later, she was on our second place 4x4 team. So it was a pretty busy day for Nell.
Yeah, to say the least. I can't even imagine, not even the championship day, but all your qualifiers for the championship and everything else. It must have been just race after race after race for her. And then Kendra Kelly's a young lady that we've had on this program a couple of times. Her story is remarkable, and she performed really well for you too, and has some years left. What's the future there for Kendra, and the story of her and her son, pretty remarkable to say the least.
Yeah, for her coming back this year, and the expectations were high for her to come back and just compete and kind of get a feel for where am I at. I've had a child, my body's gone through some changes, but I would say it's been a great year for her and development and what she's been able to do. So looking forward to moving forward into the next couple of years with her, at least one more year. I don't know how many years she's on the senior, but I know she's got a few years left. Just continuing to build off what she did this year, building the confidence and just continue to get faster.
Yeah, pretty remarkable stuff that you guys were able to do there on the men's and the women's side. Congratulations on the success, Coach. Thanks for the time today, and definitely looking forward to watching these national meets and seeing how your guys compete. Awesome.
I appreciate you having me on, and go Bison.
Here we go. Stevie Keller, Director of track and field for the Bison. Nice enough to stop by with us. We'll take a break. We'll come back, react to that, and a whole lot more here when we come back on The Insiders.
You're listening to The Insiders on your home for NDSU sports. Bison 1660.
We take great pride in really doing all the research and the work behind the scenes to make sure that our products just work.
We have our own staff member that helps pick the hybrids and the varieties that work in our area. It's meant for you, not for somebody 200 miles away.
We test our seed locally. We produce our seed locally, so we get to see our production fields, where they need to be, and if they work there.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Attention, attention! Are you a plumbing journeyman or apprentice? We want you! The region's fastest growing heating, cooling, and plumbing contractor, Valley Service Mechanical, is looking for journeymen and apprentices, and we're hiring immediately. We offer competitive pay, incentives, and a fun team to work with. If you're not happy where you're at, we'll make it worth your time to check out why you should join the Valley Service Mechanical team. It's easy to apply online today at valleyservice.net. Just click the red banner. That's valleyservice.net.
At Cardinal IG, they don't just create innovative glass solutions, they foster a culture of collaboration and teamwork. Their employees bring a wealth of experience and expertise to every project and deserve to be celebrated. This May, Cardinal IG would like to shine the spotlight on Ed Becerra, who is celebrating 25 years, Cesarina Hessel, 10 years, and Famata Thomas, Ayub Solavani, and Ronald Dosu, who are all celebrating their first year at Cardinal IG. From the entire team, thank you. To view open positions or to apply, visit cardinalfargo.com. Horn Plastics is celebrating 40 years of top quality products and service. And to show their appreciation, they're offering some unbeatable deals. Now until May 31st, get 40% off all install labor and 20% off select materials. Take advantage of this limited time offer and upgrade with the high performance trailer and dump truck body liner, including the popular Super Slide bed liners. Don't miss out on these amazing savings. Visit hornplastics.com today. Horn Plastics, excellence for 40 years and counting.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Wednesday in the Fargo-Moorhead area looking mostly sunny, a high near 89 degrees. Slight chance of showers between 1 and 4 p.m. and a chance of thunderstorms after 4 p.m. Heading into Wednesday night, 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy, a low around 64 degrees.
This weather update brought to you by Heartland Trust Company, an independent and local trust company where their priority is your financial future. Visit them online at heartlandtrust.com.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Corwin Auto has you covered. Corwin Auto has over 800 new vehicles available and more arriving daily. New vehicle inventory from the brands you love: Honda, Toyota, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. New cars, trucks, and SUVs, some with incentives as low as 0.9% financing and dealer rebates. You'll be able to get behind the wheel for less. Shop the largest selection of new vehicle inventory in the area now, only at Corwin Auto. Visit us online at corwinauto.com.
Bison 1660.
This is not a song that says the name of the song in the first
That's
second.
what you need, Andy.
That's my wheelhouse, Mike.
Is that like the training wheels, like a bicycle, but for this song?
Here, I'll take it. I've heard it. Kyle doesn't look like he has heard it.
I don't. Well, I think I've heard it. I don't know what it is.
Pretty good.
He'll say the
getting it together. Great to have Stevie Keller on.
He said it
last segment. I kind of talked over it.
Born for Greatness.
Is that
By
the
who?
name?
That's the name of the song.
Yeah.
I don't.
Skillet.
Papa Roach.
Papa Roach.
Oh, I used to be a Papa Roach fan. I don't remember this one.
Really?
No, I don't.
Is it a newer one? Maybe you haven't listened to it.
Is it newer? Newer than like.
I'll get you a year.
Get you a year.
They give me a year on that one.
There we go. 12:23 here on the Insiders. Great to have Stevie Keller on in that last segment. Again, talk about dominance. Those track programs, it's dominance if I've ever heard of it, with what they have been doing on the outdoor and the indoor surface. And best of luck to those four young men at the national tournament down there in Austin. I know he didn't really shrug it off like it's a thing, but man, you can train for it, and it has been hot here, which does help. I think it will help them. It's going to be 90s again today. They're going to be training during the hottest part of the day. Definitely trying to get in as much practice as they can. But that heat down there in Austin, you would know it. You were in Houston, at least, down that area. Like, it is steamy.
My brother lives in Austin.
Okay.
Just so I actually have them in my phone. You want to know the forecast?
Sure.
Actually, not bad. We said Wednesday, correct?
Next Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
Yeah, week from today.
chance of thunderstorms. High of 81. So not bad.
Well, okay.
Nicer than here.
Extended forecast looks pretty good out there.
It's 91. They're about the same as we are right now. 90 today, 91, 91. 90. So, yay.
Doable.
It's
nothing.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
I was saying,
worried about?
I competed in track in high school. I actually liked it when it was a little warmer. Now, these guys aren't having to compete in multiple events, but when you do have to sit there and kind of try and stay warm in between events, it was kind of nice. I like to get a sweat going. So they got, a couple field events in 800 meters, so they can kind of stay out of the heat, go run the race, get out of it again.
If you're wanting to keep track of what's happening out there, just so you know, it's next Wednesday, June 7th, and the hammer throw, which will be Trevor Otterdahl's at 2:30 p.m. Central. Javelin from Matt Kraft and Benji Phillips is at 5:30 p.m. And the nice thing, out of the heat a little bit, definitely out of the hot part of the day at least, Jacob Rodin in the 800 meters will be at 8:14 p.m. for the 800 semifinals. Jacob will have to finish in the top 8 in the semifinals on Wednesday. If he does that, he will advance to the national finals, which will be on Friday, June 9th at 9:14 p.m. So best of luck to all of them on their endeavors there. Again, Andy, Kyle, and Micah here with you. The show, as always, brought to you by Proseed, home of the right choice and right stuff programs online at proseed.net. If you need seed, think Proseed. The Minnesota Vikings, financially stable. They've paid off U.S. Bank Stadium already. Is that something you were telling me in the last break there?
23 years early, the Minnesota Vikings have paid off their debt on U.S. Bank Stadium, which is incredible. 23 years early, think about obviously this is a lot more than a mortgage on a house, but still. A move that will save Minnesota taxpayers an estimated $226 million in interest. So way to go, Vikings.
There you go.
Feel good news nominee.
So. Yeah,
nominee.
I think it should be.
I don't know if it's up there, but it's pretty good.
It's a nominee at the very least. Paying that thing off. Don't see the first loss on the schedule. I don't see any debt in the coffers.
I guess winning, what was it? What did they win? 12 games that were decided by one score or less? 13. Guess it pays off.
Yeah.
NFL must be doing all right.
Doing just fine. I think they're going to be okay out there.
What was that?
But now they have to have like $300 million of upgrades. I've heard that too. So.
What was that?
Just in time to get another loan.
What was the final tally on that stadium? Was it 1 or 2 billion or more?
1 point something billion. We're going to have our research correspondent Micah Bindi look.
They already paid it off.
Yeah, it's pretty good, pretty impressive. Took me a little longer probably to pay that thing off if I had built that one.
I think I'd have to live, I don't know,
5,
lifetimes?
6 lifetimes,
4 or 5,
yeah,
maybe 7.
The original construction price was going to be $975 million, but then it ended up being $1.06 billion.
Oh, that's
couch
nothing.
Cushions. Less than
Chump
1.1.
It was 2016, 15,
July
16?
Finished in July of 2016.
If they would have built that in 2021, I guarantee it would have been almost double. Maybe not double,
probably,
but like the price of construction.
It's all gone way
insane.
Up.
Concrete, everything.
The new Oakland Athletics. We're going to be the Las Vegas. The new one in Vegas is supposed to be like over $2 billion.
Yeah, and that's baseball.
Yeah, an extra $1 billion on top of what U.S. Bank Stadium was. That's just mind blowing, right? And it's going up and up and up and up and up. By the way, there was a report today that the A's are not expected to be playing in Vegas until 2028.
Ooh,
construction delays, getting stuff there. It's we're just going to drag this thing on for.
So Oakland has to
5 more
suffer
years
through for 5 more years. Hopefully, they at least get better.
4 more years at least.
But are the fans going to show up?
No.
Imagine they get better and they go on they just keep winning the AL West, and then the fans are and now you're leaving.
2027 World Series champions, Oakland A's. Next year,
they're on a 2-game winning streak.
Darn right they are.
They're figuring some things out.
On the up and up.
Minnesota Twins lost last night. I watched the whole game.
Joe Ryan got smacked.
Joe Ryan got beat around a little bit. Got 2 home runs in a game for the first time this season. And they had 3 hits in the first 6 or 7 innings. Didn't score. Scored a couple of runs, but didn't really have much in terms of actual threats going on. A lot of double plays grounded into by guys like Byron Buxton, who are supposed to have the big clutch hits for you. Unfortunately, they lost one. But yeah, the Oakland A's with a couple of wins in a row. Now they got 12 wins on the season. There you go.
By the way,
trying to avoid historic pace.
I looked it up. I couldn't remember. I was like, how close are they? 8.5 hours from Oakland to Vegas. So probably not a drive you're doing to watch some baseball games.
You would be a diehard fan, at the very least, to do that one. I would have to think.
Although Vegas not a bad place to visit.
Not bad at all.
If you did want to go for a couple games, maybe a homestand here
how you
there.
were just saying everything's gone up and up and up in price. Tickets to get to usually the thing about Las Vegas is it's cheap to fly into it, right?
Yeah, it's not
cheap
really
to get
that way.
Not really that way.
No.
At least not when the Vikings will be playing in Vegas or when any other NFL team is playing. It seems like on those specific weeks when airlines have figured it out now of, your NFL team or your NHL team or whatever is playing in Vegas, everybody wants to go. Those prices have gotten a little bit more spendy. You've seen that. And the hotels have gotten a little bit more
Supply and demand, man. Mm-hmm. It's a thing.
Typically, it's cheap to go there, and then they get you on everything else, right? Well, now it's even not as cheap to kind of go there.
Yeah, that's why you make money while you're there. Be good at gambling.
Make it all back.
You know the saying, though. There's a reason the lights stay on in Vegas. They're not losing money there.
No. They're doing just fine.
So you might make money, but for every person that makes money, probably at least 5 to 10 that aren't.
But Micah with his parlays, he's making the money.
I was making money last night.
You hit one.
I hit one.
There you go. Well done.
Hit one. It was what was it? It was an MLB one.
Okay.
It was an MLB one. I was having some pitchers. They were going to have some off nights, so I projected the over on a lot of hits given up, and it worked. So
that is on your list, by the way.
Hoping for offense.
Hoping for some offense. I like the offensive ones. We can go overs.
You just keep betting overs.
Who wants to bet the unders? Those ones are just lame. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. Some news, though, on the college football front from Dennis Dodd. Some changes potentially coming to the Pac-12 that could mean changes to the Big 12 at the same time. And what's the best ideal schedule for the SEC now that they're going to be adding Texas and Oklahoma? We'll give you our thoughts on that when we come back next.
This is the Insiders on your home for NDSU sports. Bison 1660.
For decades, Nodak Insurance Company has been serving our state's residents in good times and challenging times. We come together for the greater good, from simple acts of kindness to company-wide efforts that make a difference in our community. It's who we are, rooted in North Dakota and ready to serve when it matters most. Nodak Insurance Company, agents with answers.
Got inflammation? Hyperbaric Oxygen can help. My name is Menli with Healing with Hyperbarics off of 45th Street here in Fargo. We have been using 100% oxygen to treat inflammation for 5 years with amazing results. Chronic pain, concussions, sports injuries, post-COVID, and more. You don't have to accept your current symptoms as a new normal. There are other treatment options available. Hyperbaric Oxygen helps treat inflammation naturally. Visit our website for more information, healingwithhyperbarics.com.
So most companies claim they have good people, good product, good customer service, but the question is how often. We go the extra mile to take care of our dealers and our growers, and more importantly, their families and their customers.
Proceed tries to bring a family-like experience. Farmers, we want to understand what their challenges are. We also want to bring products to them that help them overcome those challenges so that they can be as successful as possible.
Need seed? Think Proceed. Proceed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Hey, business owners. You have your banker, you have your insurance guy, but do you have your door guy? Now you do. DavTech Window Services also specializes in commercial door and window repair and replacement. DavTech is proud to be known for their excellent commercial services as on the NDSU campus. Choose the door and window experts that will deliver top-rated products as well as the experienced technicians that do it right the first time. A decade of service with a century of experience. Online at DavTechWindowServices.com. That's DavTechWindowServices.com.
It's the Cash for Cars event at Gateway Chevrolet. All makes, all models. Sell your ride today. Whether it has 50,000 miles or 150,000 miles, Gateway Chevrolet will buy it. Cars, trucks, and SUVs get cash today. Gateway Chevrolet needs good, clean, used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Sell your ride today, whether it has 50,000 miles or 150,000 miles. Gateway will buy it. The Cash for Cars buying event today at Gateway Chevrolet in Fargo.
When it's time to find a realtor, word of mouth is important, and Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty is a name Bison Nation says often. Todd has helped everyone from coaches and administrators to broadcasters and former players and their families buy homes in the FM area. So many in Bison Nation trust Todd to buy and sell their homes, and you can too. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today or visit him at 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Bison 1660.
Kane Brown.
This is like our sweet spot, but you're going to beat me on both of them probably.
This is perfect.
Wow, why am I not getting the title?
You're blanking. You're pulling a me right now. Even if I had. But it's going to play for a while.
Yeah.
The song title isn't for a while, and neither is the hook. And there is a time limit on how fast we can get this one. So,
Heaven.
Just Heaven? Okay. Yeah.
Full point, Kyle Emanuel.
Full point, Kyle Emanuel.
I knew he
By
had
the way,
I knew it's something to do with like heaven or God, or because he has another one. What's his newest one?
no idea.
God is
You're looking
in
at the
title.
wrong person. All I know is Kane Brown will be at WeFest this year.
Hey.
Yeah, there you go. Morgan Wallen, Kane Brown,
Yeah.
Brad Paisley, Brothers Osborne. Talk about a lineup. Got that at WeFest coming up here in August. Our sister station, Bob 95, does a great job with that one. Covering everything going on there with Chris, John, and Corey in the morning. We'll have Chris and John back in here in a couple weeks, picking the U.S. Open Los Angeles Country Club.
Thank God. That was the other one.
Yes, I've heard that song. Yep.
Yeah, that's the other one. I was
Mhm.
like, something to do with.
I think that's him
Yeah.
and his now wife
Yeah.
as well, who is on that one.
Yeah,
Oh.
you're right.
There you go. That is country news here on the Inside.
Kane Brown and Caitlin Brown.
See? Great country
Yeah.
music mind over here. I got you. Got you covered. Here with you inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Theraldson Ethanol produces 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year. You can fuel your own future and join their growing team by going online to theraldsonethanol.com. Got a great location located just west of Castleton. Potential changes coming to the Big 12, which could mean changes for the Pac-12 as well. We've mentioned this seems to be the time of year when you go back to Texas and Oklahoma, and then UCLA and USC. This has been the time of year where the landscape has changed in college athletics and particularly in college football. This is from Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports, as of yesterday. Colorado holds substantive talks with Big 12 as Buffaloes consider leaving the Pac-12. As a Nebraska football fan, Colorado hits a little near and dear sometimes. Would you be up for them coming back to the Big 12?
I absolutely would be. No, I miss the Nebraska-Colorado rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
They border each other. They played every year on Black Friday. It was a great rivalry. There was some really good teams there, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. I believe they play again this year. They do. It might be the opening game, actually.
It is, type of thing.
So yeah,
For Deion Sanders.
Look, the kid in me, the nostalgia in me, like yes, I would love to see them come back to the Big 12. The thing is, and you mentioned, what does it do for the Pac-12? And then it means, well, what's it do for the Mountain West? And then of course hits home a little bit here, and well, what does it do to NDSU and the Missouri Valley and some of the FCS schools? Because you got to imagine the Mountain West is going to get plucked. Couple
Dominoes.
other schools,
Yep.
the domino effect. So that's why these stories are always so big, because it's more than just a story. It's not just Colorado leaving the Pac-12. And I was just reading his article, and it talks about, well, okay, then what's Arizona State going to do? Are they going to leave? What's the Big 12 going to try? What's the number for the Big 12? What are they going to try and get to? And then that just has a domino effect, and that's why it's always it's a national story, regardless of the school, because there's going to be ripple effects somewhere. You just never know where.
So the report here from Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports, saying that Colorado's had substantive talks with the Big 12 about possibly leaving the Pac-12, says that while a move out of the Pac-12 is not assured, Colorado is performing due diligence to determine whether to return to the conference it once called home. Like the rest of the Pac-12, they remain in wait-and-see mode regarding a new media rights deal that has yet to be solidified for the Pac-12. CU's rumored Big 12 interest was the talk of the Fiesta Summit earlier this month in Scottsdale, Arizona. With several sources speculating in the hallways, it became more public last week when the Oklahomans Barry Trammell reported Colorado is ready to commit to joining the Big 12 soon. Was that report? And sounds like Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark and Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliakoff have no comment when asked about the potential rumors out there.
If you're the Pac-12 and you lose USC, UCLA, Colorado, I know Colorado was 1-11 a year ago. I get that.
They haven't really done much in any of the
but
sports.
You lose Arizona,
major ones.
Now you still got Oregon, Stanford, but you're getting kind of down to the bottom of the barrel there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pac-12 is already going to be at a disadvantage just in terms of the time zone. It just is what it is. They can't change that because a lot of their games, unless they're prime time, like big time games, which doesn't seem like there's been many lately, they start at 9:30 Central or whatever. I mean, they start super late.
Certain prime time for the fans that are there, which is great, right?
But they're not getting that national coverage that
10
the Big
p.m.
Ten
Eastern
and the SEC and ACC, like, they're just not getting the same. And so they're already at a disadvantage. Now you start losing so many schools. You know, where are they going to go? I think San Diego State's going to – I think they're going to be there eventually. But is San Diego State a big enough draw for some of these TV companies?
By the way, the Big 12 already has their media rights deal in place. It is expected that if Colorado were to jump and go to the Big 12, they would receive an equal media rights share, which would be roughly $31.7 million beginning in 2025 to join the Big 12, making the move even more attractive. I do get the feeling, just from even reading this article from Dennis Dodd and other ones, it's kind of like the Spider-Man gif where everyone's pointing at each other. All the schools in the Pac-12, even as Dennis mentions it here, they're in quote-unquote wait-and-see mode to see what does a new media rights deal look like. But any company, whether it be ESPN, Fox, CBS, any company that's going to offer money for the media rights deal, they want to know what schools are going to be in the conference. If you sign the deal with the Pac-12 and then Colorado, and for argument's sake, let's say Arizona and Arizona State leave, and you bring in San Diego State,
SMU has been
Boise
rumored.
State, and SMU, like you feel like you lost out. So they're waiting to see, like, okay, what schools are going to be in this? Can we get some guarantees on it so we know what games are going to be and what fan bases and what media markets, what eyeballs are going to be on the product? And so everyone's just like, well, yeah, we'll tell you that once we know what the deal, and everyone's just staring at each other.
Yeah, it's just a stalemate.
It's a point and watch and wait and see for everybody out there. And it's like someone's just got to make a decision and be the first person to blink and hope that the other person doesn't blink back.
And you got to imagine, I'm no lawyer, but you got to imagine there'd be something written in there like, okay, here's the deal, but it's for these schools. Now, if these schools end up leaving, there's contingency, whatever. There's going to be something
Opt-out
different.
clauses,
Yeah, we
all
can
that kind of
opt out, or it'll be at a lower amount, or whatever it is. I would assume that's the way you go about this, because otherwise, like you said, they're just going to sit there. I'm going to sit there as if I'm a school, and I'm going to wait for this media deal, and if I'm a media partner, I'm going to sit there and wait to see what schools are there.
Well, that's the thing with the ACC, right? Their grant of rights deals that go for like another 10 years, so to buy them out of it's like hundreds of millions of dollars, and nobody wants to do that. That's why, everyone thinks Clemson should go, right? But no one's really been talking about that because it's hard to get out of the ACC right now. It's going to be hard to get out of the Pac-12 once that media rights thing is solidified, but before it's solidified, these schools are all kind of in limbo. We've heard about Arizona and Arizona State multiple times. We've heard about Colorado here. I think them going back to the Big 12 is kind of important. Obviously, the other thing here about Colorado, when you're talking about CU football, is Deion Sanders is the head coach of their program. And Dennis Dodd goes in to talk about, later on in this piece, that no move's going to be done without the sign-off of Deion. He's kind of not the linchpin in the whole thing, not the decision-maker in it. But if Deion says, I don't want to go, then they probably won't be going. Because all these moves, let's be honest about it, they're being done for football. Football's a moneymaker, the biggest one at least. Some schools are more basketball schools than football schools, but these moves on a national landscape are being done for football.
And I think that's one of the reasons. Obviously, Colorado is a good brand of football. Now, they haven't been very good lately, but they are a good brand of football. But Deion's a little bit of the X factor because they're going to have a lot of games with a lot of eyeballs just to see what Deion Sanders is doing. They're going to watch just for him. And so that's why I think, obviously the Pac-12 would love to keep them, and that's why one of the reasons, and the fact that they're a founding member as well. They've been in the Big 12 before. They were in the Big 8. But that's one of the reasons I think Colorado's an attractive school. You want a school like that, and one of the reasons is Deion Sanders is your head coach. Whether you love him or hate him, he's got the eyes of the country kind of on him this coming year.
By the way, a representative for Deion Sanders did not respond to CBS Sports' request either, along with the two commissioners. But this is the exact line or the phrase in the story from Dennis Dodd. Colorado and the Big 12 have met face-to-face while involved in consistent talks over a period of several months. According to multiple sources, it was made clear that a move to the Big 12 would not be made without the support of football coach Deion Sanders. So, Deion he is a big personality. He is a big-time coach. I think that's also an interesting thing in this is there's a lot of people that want to watch Colorado this year. How does he do, right? And so that's made Colorado from, like you said, they haven't won many games. They have not been relevant at all in the national landscape. No one's really watching to, now we're watching and we're interested. And now it's kind of like there's sort of a prized possession a little bit for the Pac-12 and the Big 12 if they can pull them away.
I'm going to be watching.
Yeah.
I want to see
People
what
wanna know.
I want to know what happens when you have 50 transfers or whatever that number came out to.
It's like when you're driving down the highway and the traffic's backed up and you get to the point of like, oh, there was an accident, like a fender bender. That's why we're backed up for a mile. Like everyone wants to stare at the accident, the car crash, the circus, whatever it is. It can be good or bad. We don't know yet. But everyone's going to be watching that. And so that's made them a little bit more of a prized possession in these talks. So maybe back to the Big 12, if that were to happen, you would assume if one team leaves, there might be a couple more that maybe follow and sense some weakness and get out before nothing's left. Then it does become raid time for the Mountain West Conference because the Pac-12 is just going to have to survive, and maybe they go find some other players, from the Boise States of the world, the San Diego States, SMUs, other teams out there. Maybe they go more national like everyone else is doing. The Big 12 or Big 10's going Maryland to Los Angeles, coast to coast out there. Maybe they do that as well.
Said the Big 12 commissioner said their goal, and when he said this, I was like, isn't the Big 10 in all of them? But I don't think the Big 10's in the Mountain time zone. But he's like, we want to have a school in every time zone in the country, which that was not the case 15, 20 years. Like, it was all regional. Now it's a power game, it's a money game, and how many markets can you get into?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that brings more money, and that's what everyone's trying to do now. So it's funny when we talked about Western Illinois leaving the Missouri Valley. It's like, oh, it makes sense. Regionalization, it's closer.
Those are the points.
FBS, nope, we don't care about
short
travel
trips.
Costs. Give us all the eyeballs we can get. Give us every TV market that we can get. But the Big Ten does have Chicago, I believe New York, technically, with Rutgers, and L.A. now.
Oh, yeah, with New York. Yeah, with Rutgers they have a team there. Everyone always mentions that. Does Rutgers really represent the New York market?
Many people in New York care about Rutgers. But
yeah, a little bit.
I guess you can at least make that claim when you're making the pitch.
Yeah, when you're dealing with the kind of money they're dealing with. Again, $31.7 million beginning in 2025 for the media rights deal just for football. Travel costs can be a little bit higher. You can stomach those ones. It's just a little bit more. But it is kind of strange. I guess Western Illinois was really the first domino to fall. You can say that, right?
Yeah.
They were the first domino to fall.
They were.
They got going. They went to the OVC, and everyone's like, okay, well, now we got to get, the things got to start happening.
Dominoes.
That was the first domino to fall, possibly. And then the other big one out there is still what's going to happen with Notre Dame. I think that's one we've talked about for a couple of off seasons. There's a lot of speculation.
About that for 20 years.
You can go on and on about it, right? Big Ten still makes a lot of sense to me. But if I'm the Pac-12 and I want to go coast to coast, that seems like if there's any team on that side of the country, I can maybe try and pull just because of for Notre Dame, big thing is the academic standing, right? We hear that all the time.
Right.
How honest is it? You can make your own determinations. I think for a school like Notre Dame, it actually kind of is. When you got Stanford, you got some other pretty highly thought of universities out there. Maybe it's a pull. I doubt it, but that's another obviously massive domino. It's going to fall at some point.
Notre Dame to me just seems like they love, and this is with no insider information, but they just seem like they love being, we are Notre Dame, and we are independent, and we are different than anyone else. And not that I think it would hurt their brand by any means, joining like a Big Ten or even a Pac-12, but it just, now they're not Notre Dame. They're not Notre Dame with their own TV contract with NBC. They're a little bit different. Now they kind of fall in line with everyone else. I feel like as long as it makes sense for them, until it doesn't, like they're going to stay independent. That's my opinion. I don't know. It seems like it would make sense. Just go join the Big Ten. You're already in Big Ten country. Play half the teams, it seems like, every year anyway. But they're Notre Dame, and they just do things differently.
Do it differently. Sure do. I think our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show on the other side. We're talking a little college football there in that last segment.
You've got the insiders on your Bison Nation station, Bison 1660.
Your vehicle is likely one of your biggest assets and certainly your ultimate connection to freedom. So it needs to be kept in tip-top shape. And Jiffy Lube of Fargo will make it happen. With no appointment needed, just drive into any of the 3 convenient Fargo locations for their signature service oil change, which includes a check of all your vehicle's vital fluids and an inspection of other preventative maintenance items to ensure you're ready to hit the road. For over 40 years, locally owned Jiffy Lube of Fargo has been the place that Fargo Moorhead has counted on to keep them on the road.
Attention all electricians! Are you ready for your next challenge? Theraldson Ethanol is currently seeking an experienced and skilled E&I technician to join their team in Castleton. You'll be responsible for maintaining, troubleshooting, and repairing a variety of electrical and instrumentation equipment. You'll need to have strong analytical skills, technical aptitude, excellent attention to detail, and a commitment to safety. If you have experience in E&I maintenance and an electrical journeyman license, we want to hear from you. Apply now at TheraldsonEthanol.com.
Rice Companies understands that strong buildings and strong communities start with strong connections. They know the importance of every bolt, every beam, and every handshake. Every connection must be strong. When you work with Rice Companies, you're building on more than concrete and steel. You're building on knowledge and expertise with people you can trust. People who value your investment as much as you do. Connect with Rice Companies, your local Butler builder, and experience the difference strong connections can make for your business. Learn more and see career opportunities at ricecompanies.com.
No matter where you work, whether it's at your kitchen table or in the office, you need to collaborate with your team. ProConnect from Consolidated Communications makes it happen. You'll never miss a call when you can answer from your desk phone, laptop, or cell phone. And you can communicate instantly using real-time messaging. Confidently connect with customers over secure video conferencing and work together to create and share documents. Get ready to connect, collaborate, and communicate brilliantly. Choose ProConnect, your team collaboration tool from Consolidated Communications.
Do you love problem solving and working with your hands? If so, Campbell Properties is looking for you. Campbell Properties is a Fargo-based real estate investment and property management company, and they currently have openings in their maintenance department. These are full-time positions that come with an attractive benefits package, which includes health insurance, 401k, a monthly rental discount, quarterly incentives, vehicle allowance, and advancement opportunities. Starting pay $25 per hour. Apply today. Call 701-364-4100 or email info@campbellprop.com.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Corwin Auto has you covered. Corwin Auto has over 800 new vehicles available and more arriving daily. New vehicle inventory from the brands you love: Honda, Toyota, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. New cars, trucks, and SUVs, some with incentives as low as 0.9% financing and dealer rebates. You'll be able to get behind the wheel for less. Shop the largest selection of new vehicle inventory in the area now, only at Corwin Auto. Visit us online at corwinauto.com.
Bison 1660.
I got nothing. Go for it, Kyle. It's all you.
I know this
like
song.
Rock country. I like it. I don't know what it is, but I like the song. Destiny.
My brain's not working.
Try. That'd be great if it was.
It's a classic, but it's a classic that was redone by a different band.
Oh,
it's not the OG
Wait,
band.
You guys
that
gotta
made
stop
the song.
talking. I'm trying to focus here.
Keep talking. 10 more seconds.
It is a remake, right?
Yeah. Someone covered this. Well, this is the cover.
Luke Combs doing Fast Car. Great song.
Gosh, come on,
Bad
guys.
Company.
There it is. Bye.
No idea. I like the song. I'm going to download it and listen to it.
You heard of Bad Company,
Country
right?
artist?
No.
Is it country
No.
artist?
No idea. I'm going to go
Five Finger
rock.
Death Punch.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I wouldn't have got that.
That's not my wheelhouse at all.
I don't think you have a wheelhouse in music, Andy.
That's not
I
the
don't
wheelhouse.
think you do.
Five Finger Death Punch is not the wheelhouse. I'll tell you that. They did like a tour though with a country artist recently, like Brantley Gilbert or somebody like that.
Ooh, I could
They
see
got
that.
good range.
They would go well
It was a
together.
good song. I like. Maybe I'll start listening. Maybe it'll become my wheelhouse. Maybe that'll be adopted in, but not my wheelhouse right now. Last segment with you, Andy, Kyle, and Micah for the week. For a while, Micah, where are you going? You just told me you're taking a bunch of days off. You didn't tell me
I'm going to your least favorite place, Wisconsin.
Oh, there
Green
you go.
Bay.
Wisconsin
You gonna go
Dells.
hang
No,
out
I'm
with
not going to Green Bay.
Jordan Love? You gonna tell him all your great predictions for him?
Yes.
I'm gonna.
Was it MVP or something in 2 years or 3 years?
You're gonna win more NFC North titles than the Vikings in the next 10 years. Or something.
Exactly. As long as Jordan Love is with the Packers, he'll have more NFC titles than the Vikings will.
I think the Packers should sign Carson.
Carson is still out there.
I think they should.
They have no backup right now. Their backup
Exactly.
is
Probably Scott Tolzien. Is he still around?
no.
That's
It's
a person,
even
right?
worse than that. It's like a second-year quarterback, and they drafted a rookie as well.
They drafted Sean Clifford out of
Yes.
Penn State.
They drafted Sean Clifford.
Yeah, no. They
Packers depth chart. We'll look it up. We'll get it for you. But you know what? Carson is still sitting out there, and we've been waiting for the news on that. Typically, you get the kind of the second wave of free agency once June gets going, because again, there'll be a lot of players that get released or cut or traded, and then there's more people out there in free agency. You can go pick them up, and that will include some other potential quarterbacks, like maybe even Carson.
We forgot about Danny Etling.
That guy.
Danny Etling.
That
Ooh.
one.
Huge arm. No, I don't even know.
No offense to him. I know. I can't say who. I kind of hate when people, because I know for a fact if my name was ever brought up when I was playing, Kyle who? So I understand it, but I've never heard of him.
Start throwing out
apologize.
some bulletin board material. facing the Chiefs. Like, Patrick Mahomes isn't even good. He sucks. He's a terrible player. They go to
Me?
Mahomes in the locker room. Hey, Kyle Emanuel said this about you. He goes, Who?
Yeah, 100%.
I think I remember Danny Etling throwing a touchdown pass in the preseason to actually Christian Watson. That's why I had the name rings a bell.
Oh, okay. So he's got some good stats out there.
In the preseason. I don't think he has regular season stats.
That's all right.
Well, imagine Carson goes there, throws a touchdown pass to Christian Watson.
So who's going to buy or sell tomorrow?
Ian.
Ian?
Yeah, we're going to let him do it. I might come up with a couple. I might feed him a couple of them. Or unless you want to come up with it.
I could do that.
You want to do
I've
it?
done it before.
You want to take on that? It's a big responsibility.
It is a big responsibility.
I'm
Then
going
I
to
don't have
call
to
in.
answer
I'm
the
going to be
questions.
like, wow, what a bad buy or sell from Kyle Emanuel.
Like, Byron Buxton is 29 years old. When he's 42, do you think he'll have 400 stolen bases or something like that?
I think when he's 42, he'll be in a retirement home and not able to walk.
I think by 32, man.
I was making fun of your question you had with Byron Buxton. It was like projecting 10 years out. Well, how many hits will he have? I was like, I don't know. How am I supposed to buy or sell this? I don't even remember it.
Well, I told you the stats.
You gave me too many
Throwing
stats.
it right at you on that one. And then you're going to miss Future Crop as well on Friday. So unfortunate for Mike Bendy. But enjoy your time off. Well deserved.
Can I put in a future pick for Future Crop?
No.
I don't think we're going to allow future picks.
Future Inception.
Future like as in this week or next week?
No, like future. Like I'm putting it in
Like
right
your-
now
Future,
for the
future.
So we
future.
can't take them, basically.
Yeah, I just pick a name right now, but I don't have a name in my head right now. I haven't done any
I
research.
think you just text Ian.
I was thinking he was like, I'm going to pick someone who's a high school
Okay,
recruit.
well I'm gonna
yeah.
I'm
Okay,
gonna pick
future.
Cole Payton because he doesn't have any starts. That's my future crop.
I think
Sorry.
he's played in too many games.
No.
Nope.
So is Sam Young. So
Nope. Sam Young has
Cole
not
Payton
played.
is my future
He's
crop
not played
of Bison.
defense.
But Cole Payton
Cole Payton's played offensive
Sam Young has
snaps.
plenty of defensive snaps. He has an interception, maybe multiple.
Those were all in games where it was a blowout. He came in late. Now you're making up the rules.
I can make up
all
rules just like you
games.
make up
All
rules,
games where
Andy.
he got in late. Now he's starting. He's going to be a starting safety. He's going to be a great player. He's going to be phenomenal. And we're looking forward to Sam Young being out there as a future crop of Bison.
I pick Cole Payton as
I
my
want
future
Oscar
crop of
Benson
Bison.
then.
You can take Oscar Benson. I'll take that. I'll allow
He
it.
started a couple games, I'm pretty sure, last year.
I think that counts. Think of like
deal.
And we should ask the listeners.
These rules are too flexible.
Ask the listeners. You know, Sam Young's a name we haven't heard very often. Wasn't called a whole lot.
I've heard his name often.
Well, yes, you are back here cutting highlights for the games every single Saturday. So you know what? You probably heard his name quite a bit more than maybe our great listeners out there in Bison Nation. Yes, before he leaves, he has to have one more attack of Sam Young as a future crop of Bison.
That one will never go away.
I've heard from listeners that it was an illegal pick.
Probably heard from a listener, and you're just saying it's
listeners.
Okay.
Listeners.
Multiple.
Your parents don't like
that's
it, I
correct.
guess.
While I'm at my other job, they're like, "Oh, you're Micah, Bison 66." Yeah, Andy's pick of Sam Young doesn't count.
It definitely counts. It's up there, and he's going to have a great year, and I'm looking forward to it. As a first-year starter, which means he's a future crop of Bison, I'm counting it. And Reggie King's going to be great, and all my picks are going to be phenomenal. Josiah Azure last week, that was a steal. In like week 9 to get Josiah Azure.
You guys missed the obvious one. Caleb Bowers, long snapper.
Yeah, that was pretty obvious.
I mean, he's going to be a starter next year.
Yeah, he will. That's
Not this
crop.
coming year, but probably the year after.
And again, if you don't have a good long snapper and you're talking about him, that's an issue.
Hopefully
it
this
really
is.
It's
No
a huge
offense to him,
issue.
but hopefully this is like the last time we talk about him.
Yeah.
Until maybe
we'll
when
talk
he's a
about
starter.
him in the middle of the season when we're
Doing a
reviewing
great
our
job, right.
future crop of Bison picks.
But
and you're
outside
saying,
of that,
what has he done? We haven't talked about it.
Great snaps.
There you
Really
go.
crisp.
That'll do it for the show today. Call in right now, though. Let's open up the phone lines. I got some prizes to give away. I got some stuff, some tickets. How about the FM Redhawks? Who likes going to some baseball?
Yeah.
June is great. June's a great month for baseball. And even though it's the last day of May, June's a great month for baseball. We got 2 tickets, FM Redhawks versus Sioux Falls Canaries, tonight at 7 p.m., Newman Outdoor Field. Caller number 2 wins 2 tickets to the FM Redhawks versus Sioux Falls, 701-476-1660. Big thanks to Stevie Keller for stopping by, talking some NDSU track. Also, Brandon Kristzal down in Denver covering the NBA Finals for us. That will do it for us today. Coming up next, it is The Herd, Fox Sports Radio. Back with you again tomorrow.
Brain health is our priority. Whether it's post-concussion, post-COVID, or mental health, your brain health is the most important part of who you are. At Healing with Hyperbarics, we are using 100% oxygen to treat your brain the natural way. We use Right Eye, a dynamic vision test to look at the brain-eye communication. Give us a call and book an appointment for a free Right Eye test in our clinic through the end of June. We are located off of 45th Street in Fargo in the Crown Jewels Plaza. Learn more at our website, healingwithhyperbarics.com.
Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home proudly supports the Bison and appreciates the commitment each student makes to its success. Whether in the arts or other campus activities, these students are our country's future and deserving of our support. Hanson Runsvold is dedicated to helping families look to the future with hope and remember what we do today shapes our memories for tomorrow. Add the Bison experience and live life to the fullest. Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home, an experienced and caring staff with a distinct attention to detail.
In 1953, Bill Samuels created a simple bourbon, while Margie Samuels worked on her creative vision. A bottle, hand-dipped in red wax, wrapped in a hand-cut label, filled with handcrafted bourbon that elevated flavor and remains unchanged as of today. Aromas of woody oak, caramel, and vanilla, with a taste that is sweet and balanced with caramel, vanilla, and fruity essences. Every barrel of Maker's Mark is aged to taste, not time. Maker's Mark, the star of your home bar. Please drink responsibly.
Your vehicle is likely one of your biggest assets and certainly your ultimate connection to freedom, so it needs to be kept in tip-top shape. And Jiffy Lube of Fargo